Goose.
Of course, he stopped meowing. As soon as you start.
Hello, Daniel. Nice to see you here. My number one fan, my biggest supporter. Can I zoom this in, Vincent?
Hmm?
Can I zoom this in more on this screen?
On which screen? On this screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show me how. Let me know
It's
if
just
there's
going to
anything
be-
weird, Daniel.
Just going to be a little bit different, is all. Oops.
Hello?
Oh. It's just gonna mess everything if I do that way.
Well, it needs to be zoomed
Okay. How zoomed in do you want it?
so that it's much closer.
So that it's much closer. You got it. Alright, so let's do.
Try one of those things.
Like that?
Even more.
Even
And
more.
that way more. Or this way more.
And this way more. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, that's better. But then, like, scoot it different. So it's where I am. Daniel, comment if anything's weird.
Oh, you wanted it that way.
No,
Oh wait.
it was
that way?
perfect. The shape was perfect. It just needs to be zoomed in.
Yes,
That's
but no, but I don't think you understand what I'm trying to say.
What?
Do you want it focused on this on
No, I
this?
want to focus
Yeah,
here.
okay, so that's what I was doing.
Got it. Okay, so you're just changing it.
Yeah.
Daniel, I can't believe that you came in and then you just left and pretended like you were here and you weren't here. I just want you to tell me if there's anything weird. Vincent's fixing this window, so I don't have anyone on the other side. So you get to be on the other side. Yeah, that's better. It just doesn't need, I don't need all the other stuff in there. I'm gonna get all of this out before I save it on my channel, so that's easy.
Like so?
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
smaller.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, I'm just gonna
Maybe even like if I'm sitting like this, scoot it like down a little bit.
Could it even more down?
Yeah, so that it's set like centered where
Okay.
my hands.
You got it.
That's how I had it last time, I do believe.
So
I have no
Wait.
idea who's here. Comment if you're here so that I know, because otherwise I have no idea.
so there and so like so, kind of?
Yeah, but like, you know, the same window shape.
Yes.
Cool, thanks, Danny. I'm on my laptop, which I could not do this on. 4, 5, 6. So I don't know how anything works now.
You're so welcome.
I know it's messing everything up for you. Just needs to be more zoomed in. This was so easy to do when I had a desk and everything had a place, and all I had to do was turn everything on.
My loud breathing is probably like in the microphone, so I'm so sorry for
That's
whoever has to endure that right
All of
now.
this I will be cutting out before I post on YouTube.
Growing pains, growing pains.
Yeah.
Okay, how about now?
That looks good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You can always cook that. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
that's
easier.
better.
Good?
Yeah. Oh no. There we go.
Alright, let's see how it looks like if I
You wouldn't
do
even believe
if I do
how
this view.
tricky this
Hang on.
setup is.
How about this view? Oh man.
Nope, not right. It has to be fixed. No, yeah, but that's, I mean, that's closer. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's alright, actually. Look. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Sweet.
Oh, I think it's alright.
If
It's
you
as
want-
good as it's gonna get.
If you want
in
less
the
of
van.
that marbling, you can like that like
Daniel, is my music not enough noise for you? I'm gonna put my hair on. It's hot. in California right now.
One more fan. It will be this wiki.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm just gonna put my hair up in a clip.
Like so.
Yeah. Daniela, what are you crafting? Are you Minecrafting? That's what I want to be doing. I think every time that fall comes is when I really start to feel like jumping into a Minecraft world again. So maybe if you're down, we can do that if you want to. I wouldn't mind. I hate this. Major systems of your game? Very exciting. Vince, would you hand me that hair tie? Vince, would you hand me that hair tie, that pink hair tie right there?
Pink hair tie?
Yeah. This clip is not doing it for me. It's gonna give me a headache. Are you still working on the same game, Danny? The one that, like the 8-bit looking one? Something that works perfectly well. I'm just hoping that redoing it will open up some new possibilities. I think it's been fun watching you develop that game. I'm just knitting, so if you need any socks, I've been oh, this is so weird. Vince is leaving us. I'm gonna turn this light up. See if that makes the... Yeah, that's better. The, LED lights were weird. So Daniel, if you need socks, let me know, because, I run out of people to give them to. Girl! Hey, baby! Let's see what else is new. We went surfing today. And it was brutal. It was at a, like, Daniel, you've experienced Huntington Beach now, so, like, you know how some of it can be. Usually, I'm doing this backwards. Usually, where we have been hanging out in Doheny Beach and Dana Point is pretty chill. Like, literally all weekend, it was maybe foot big waves, and, like, hardly any strength behind them, so it was really not even that fun to surf, because you're just kind of like hop on the wave and it's like so that was all weekend. And then today it was only supposed to be like a foot taller, which seemed fine, except once you got out there, like, I feel like it just picked up a lot. Like, the wind was strong and the waves were like so big and unpredictable, so they would like come up and then crash really hard. And I legit, there was a moment where I was just getting pushed into the rocks so hard, and I could not get back on my, like, I didn't even have time to hop back on my board and, like, paddle through it. I just kept getting, like, knocked over and knocked over and knocked over. So I was dying. And then I scraped my leg up somehow. I don't even know how. I didn't touch, like, a rock or anything. I think maybe it was, like, seaweed or something. And then on top of that, I scraped my foot. I got knocked off my board again, and as my board got ripped out of my hand, it, like, the leash of my board wrapped around my foot and, like scraped up my foot. So now I have a bruise, like a really bad bruise on my foot. I had to put ice on it. Like, the side, like the inner bone on the inside of my foot that connects to, like, my big toe, like, that bone got scraped. It was like purple. I'm overplaying it. It doesn't look that bad, but it really hurt. I got up to, like, get food, and I literally was like, oh, that's gonna be bad. So I had to get off my feet and ice it. So anyway, that was not super fun. Didn't love it. And then some nice guy was like, I almost got on a wave. It was so big. As soon as I got to the top of it, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I pulled back, and this guy is like, you had that one. Did you get nervous? And I was like, yep, these waves are pretty rough. And so then because he said that, I was like feeling like maybe I can do it. So I tried to do it, and it was still bad. I got to, I went and just crashed down again. And at that point I was like, I'm out, I'm done. We're going in. I was so tired. We were out there for, got out there around 11. Came in at 1:30. So we were out there for a good amount of time, but and I am so sore. Yeah, Vincent's battle, isn't that thing looked so gory. I was like, does he need stitches again? Because you know, he got stitches on New Year's when an axe hit his face. But he soldiered through. You could like really, I didn't do a good job showing it because honestly we just needed to take care of it, but like it was all the way down like into the flesh of his hand, like way past the skin. It was deep into like the fleshy bits, so it's bad. Lots of blood. But he healed really fast. He did a good job keeping waterproof band-aids on it and stuff. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it was that one was worse than the stingray sting that he got on his foot. This one bled more. It was really funny. We got over to the lifeguard tower, so I was like, there's no way we can walk out, like back to the car with like your hand dripping blood everywhere and like holding, because you have to, you know, he has a surfboard to carry and stuff too. I can't carry both of them. So I was like, we have to do this. We have to go to the lifeguard. So he goes over to the lifeguard. We walk over and then he's like, hey man, do you have a band-aid? And the lifeguard's like, yeah, what do you need? Like how big a band-aid do you need? And he looks at it and he's like, oh. He goes in and he grabs like, I don't know, saline solution or something to clean it and like gets the whole kit and is like washing it down, and then he gives us a big thing of gauze and is like, here you go, here's some more band-aids for afterwards. Like, thank you. He was like not prepared. He was not prepared for what he saw. And there's just a trail of blood from all the way where we got out of the water all the way over to the lifeguard tower too. Just like drip, drip, drip. It's gross. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I only get I just get the littlest little injuries. I don't get like anything big, and Vincent gets like the worst. He has the worst luck. And like, yeah, I think those lifeguards, I mean, there's that entire beach where we are is rocks on the bottom, most of it. So I'm sure injuries happen more often than at other beaches, but I don't think he was prepared. I need an extra pillow. I might steal the one that Earl's sitting on. Earl! Meow meow meow! Hey, come here! Beep beep beep! Thanks for being here, Daniel. I had a feeling that it would be quiet tonight, since I have to rebuild the community that I had. Wow, my dress really matches these pillows. I gotta rebuild my community, but thanks for being here and commenting so I have things to talk about. I don't mind it being quiet. I am excited to kind of restart up all the things that I like to do. And if anyone else is here, comment so that I know you're here, because all I can see is concurrent viewers. I can't see who is around. So say hello. Let's hang out. Ask me questions. I'll tell you stories. I got stories on stories. I am knitting a sock that is my size. I've knitted enough socks now that I don't need a pattern or anything anymore. I just have kind of figured out my preferred methods for where I like to start toe up, for instance. This is a toe up sock. I think if you ever watched my knitting socks for newbies video, a lot of this is probably in that too. Donica! Hi! Oh, thanks for watching. I always love seeing you in my comment section. You're one of my, like, familiar names that I love to see. Anywho, I'm knitting a sock. I like to knit toe up. This is, what's it called? I think it's like Jane's Magic Cast On or something like that. But you basically twist the yarn in between two needles, like so. and that's like your first rows. And from there you just start in the round, which is kind of cool. It's easy to do once you figure it out. Almost always I have to start again because I almost always mess it up the first time. Either it's too loose or I drop a stitch. It's not the easiest to do, but it is simple once you get going. And I don't have any cross stitch stuff with me, or I'd be cross stitching, because cross stitching is, I think, easier to do in this format. But I finished my last big project, my mandrake that I had been working on forever ago, and I just didn't put all of it back in the van when we visited the storage unit we have in Arizona in January. I just, like, since I didn't have any new projects I wanted to do, and I've been knitting a lot, I was like, I'll just focus on knitting. I've been getting little skeins of yarn for each new place we go. This one, I'm ashamed to say, is from Hobby Lobby. I don't like Hobby Lobby. Every time I walk in there and there's like drab Christian music and tacky home goods, I'm like... But unfortunately, there is just not another craft store that has good wool yarn. Otherwise I would go somewhere else. I think Michaels needs to step up their game, because they do have other good stuff. Like, I shop at Michaels wherever I can, and they do have good, they have, like, you know, good sales and stuff. They just don't have good wool yarn, and Hobby Lobby does. And it's affordable. They have 30% off right now, all of their yarn this week. So, like, this was just, like, this one was, like, originally $17, which is, like, $13 or $14 cheaper, for a skein of wool yarn like this. And if I'm just knitting something like a sock and I don't need it to be fancy, I just need something. Anyway, so tell Michaels to figure it out. These socks looks really hard. Yeah. Hey, knitting and purling is pretty much all you need. So you're most of the way there. The hardest thing with socks is just that you're working in such a tiny round. It's just hard. I think, like, knitting socks is harder on my hands because, you know, tinier movements and sharper needles. I've stabbed myself with the needle before right through my hand because I dropped it and I tried to catch it, and that was a dumb idea. So that's tricky, but let's see. Okay. Yeah, Joann's, I used to shop at, I mean, my mom loved Joann because she, like, always would buy fabric there. My mom likes to sew a lot more than she likes to, like, do other crafts. I've tried to teach her knitting. I got her all the stuff she needed to learn how to knit socks for Christmas, but she never actually got to the point of learning it. But I used to go to Joann all the time with my mom for fabric, but they don't have a ton of yarn either. Compared to, like, Michaels. If they're both nearby, I'm gonna choose Michaels over Joann. They do have better sales. I think the worse off all these craft stores do, the better their sales get. Let's see. See, I feel like, see how weird this looks? I feel like that should not be that loose. I might do one more round and see if I can save it, but otherwise I'm gonna have to start over. Like I always do. Literally, I don't think I've ever started a pair of socks and, like, gotten it right the first time. There's always something weird with it. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can, like, straighten it out. Because I know I didn't, like, miss a stitch or anything. At least I don't think I did on this time. I think it's just loose. Weird. Yeah, I think it's just too loose. I'm gonna start over. Yes, I am still knitting a sock in each state I visit. Except for we've been in California since April, and we have not left. Shame. I have not been, traveling the way that I did last year. So I just finished, let's see, let me show you. I did get, like, one pair, or one, skein from, like, downtown Carlsbad, because that's where we've been hanging out. Oh, I'm also working on, here, I'll show you this too. I'm also knitting a cute top. It's called the Everyday Tank Top. I can't remember who it's by. I got the pattern on Etsy. It's just really simple, but I needed something to, like, use up the rest of this cotton yarn that I had, because it's been sitting in my bag for a year. So I'm also working on that, but I didn't want to have to count too much while I'm streaming, because I'd have to, like, be looking at the pattern every 5 minutes. So I'll finish that one later. Let's see. Yeah, these are my like Oceanside / Carlsbad California socks. I knitted these. There's like a cool blue. I think it's like Dream in Color brand yarn. I really like Dream in Color, and a lot of yarn shops carry it. It's like pretty well loved brand, but it doesn't look nearly as pretty. That I think the like this view with my face is way closer to like the real color. There's kind of like an aqua, not quite turquoise, not quite like teal, somewhere bright and greeny blue, very oceany. So these are my socks for that. Just simple. I get bored when I knit socks, especially because I just have done it so much now. Like I have literally, this is how I spend all of my free time. These are the socks I currently have near me, sitting near me, and then I have a bunch more like away in my closet. But I get bored, and so then I end up doing like, I'll do like, this is like a 2-to-1 rib or different things. These ones are longer and also ribbed, but I actually just like to wear like the most basic. So I try to have balance. I do a lot of ribs, even though I don't even like them that much. I prefer to wear just like this, very smooth, plain socks. I wear them a lot with like my little leather Keds. I have like the classic old lady Keds, but they're leather, like white leather, and they are so the comfiest shoes ever. And they look really cute with knit socks. So I like to wear them with that, and I think that the smooth just, otherwise I feel like my ankles look too like bulky. And they stretch out faster when you wear them if they're ribbed. But I just get so bored, so I try to have balance. That's why I got this yarn, because it's just like a stripe, so at least I have that. I have stripes to look forward to. Then I don't have to worry so much about interesting stitches. Okay, I'm starting this over. This is round 2. We're gonna see if we can get it in 2 times. I lost my third needle. Where did it go? I have to find it. Well, I'll find it in a minute. I don't need it yet. It's gotta be somewhere. I think I probably picked it up with my tank top. Oh yeah, there it is. Found it. Alright, we're really figuring out the setup tonight. This is a real fun experiment in cameras. I wish this one was more zoomed in. Oop, that one was more zoomed in, but we'll figure that out for next time. I really miss my desk. I had like everything all set up. I had my microphone like ready to go, and then I had my 2 cameras all ready to go, so it was so easy to do these, and now it's like, it's a real effort because I gotta take everything, like put everything up and take it all back down every time because you don't have room in the van to leave it up. Okay, we're redoing. So this is what the cast on looks like. I think it's cool. It feels magical to do it. It's just hard to get right. But I really do prefer toe up because I don't like, if you do like top to toe at the end, like the way that I do socks, you could do the whole thing the same, but you have to like sew the toe at the end. You just end up with like a little thing you have to sew, and I like the least bulky as possible on my toes because like texture wise I can feel it if there's like lumps and stuff, so I'd rather have it be smooth. I am not cross-stitching this year. I finished my big project and then I just left everything in my storage unit in Arizona in January. Since we've been in California, I figured if I really wanted to, I could run and get it. The reality is it's still like $400 to drive from here to Arizona, even though it's only 5.5 hours away. So we haven't actually been back to Arizona since we left. I did finish the Star Wars pattern, and I also I think I got burnt out, really, is what it is. I had this like really big pattern that you can no longer buy on Etsy, but it was like this really cool, it looked like an old like nature book or like magic book. It was a mandrake, and so it was like kind of like the facts that are like Harry Potter adjacent kind of vibes. It looked like an old book page, and it had like it's like a really cool like illustration of a mandrake, and then like all this like little text stitching. And it just ended up being so much work. I kind of got burnt out, and I had it with me all of last year, and that was the only thing that I ended up really working on. I was just like, I don't want to look at cross stitch for a minute. And then in August of last year, I started my Etsy shop. So now I make cross stitch patterns every week, which is just like, now it's work. So that's the other thing that makes it less fun, I think. I don't have time to like stitch every pattern that I make, and quite frankly, it's not necessary anyway, because I spend a lot of time making sure all my colors are true to life, and because I do cross stitch, I understand like how to make a pattern so that it's makeable, so that it works well in cross stitch form, you know, that the letters look good and all of that. So I don't feel like I need to make mock-ups of every single pattern that I make, so I just focus on making patterns and not stitching, is my very, very long answer to that question. Vincent has picked up cross stitching. He picked it up last year, so we do still have cross stitch in the van. It's just stuff that Vincent's stitching instead of me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One more. I start with, let's see, for my socks that I make, I'm a size 6, sometimes 6.5 shoe. And with a 2.75 millimeter needle, I start with 24 stitches, like 12 and 12. And then I work my way up to 52. So then all the way around for my whole sock is 52 stitches on a 2.75 millimeter needle. And I also knit pretty tight. Like, the measurements that I use for my friends, if they also are knitting, they usually have to downsize, or yeah, they have to downsize like how many stitches they use by a little bit, because it'll be like too loose for them if they use stitch looser. Watch live, Kamala Harris. She's live, folks. Thank you. Yes. Charles Cat Lady's live. That one was from last week. I try to post every Monday, and I usually design it the week before and then like do all of the final edits and compile all the PDF stuff, and then also do all the graphics on Mondays. That's like my like long work day. I try to like front load the week with work, because today's Thursday, I'm burnt out. I'm done. That vlog was supposed to go live on Tuesday, so it's, you know, it gets worse as the week goes on. But yeah, so both the patterns that I showed are live in my shop. I'm still obsessed with Taylor Swift lyrics because they're just so fun to, they're so, like, she's just so visual that it's so easy to make like an image to go with the lyrics, which I appreciate. I think it's fun. It's really fun seeing all the people who buy them that like get the joke too. It's that way with my needle minders also. Like, there's some needle minders that are like very niche and like very much inside jokes for several different fandoms. Like my Buffy one is the same way, but people get it. I really thought I would be the only one who liked it, like some of the ones that I picked, but then they've ended up being some of my best sellers. It's just so unpredictable, like what people pick up on. It's fun. I have a whole huge list of patterns I want to make. I really burnt myself out doing it every week last year, but I think that I might, if I have like a better balance now, work-life balance, and also I think I'm just happier, so maybe I can get more work done. Last year was really hard for us, to be honest. That's why I didn't vlog much. A lot of it was just like figuring our life out. Vincent grappling with his mental health quite a bit more than he had before, and me also. I hung out a lot with, shoot, see, I lost this. No, maybe I can save it. Aha, I saved it. I almost dropped a stitch. I hung out with my ADHD friends quite a bit, and kind of really started to address the fact that like my mental health probably is less tied to like depression and anxiety, and more just that my brain works a little differently, and I've never made life adjustments for that. And I'm much happier now that I've made those life adjustments. So I think that instinct was correct for me as far as figuring out stuff. It just took some time to like figure out how things work for me and my brain, because I really tend to overdo it and then never want to touch it again. Crossed it. That's why I think designing patterns is fun, because like I am a visual person, and I'm like, I'm an artist first, so at least I can do that. That works better. But yeah, I think honestly, we weren't getting any exercise last year, so we were both feeling like really meh. I was drinking too much. Like that was something that was a hard thing to figure out. Post Mormonism, just no one teaches you how to do that, and I got a lot of warnings about all the alcoholism in our family. Turns out, I think most of it is just because everyone's depressed and had no outlet and didn't go to therapy. So I think that was more the problem in my family, more than like real, like, you know, real addiction propensity. But it was a learning curve. It's kind of like, it was kind of a crutch last year when just there was nothing else to do, hanging out with friends. Especially our friends in Georgia who had just had a baby. So it's like, I love hanging out at their house. Also, they're really good cooks and make really good food. And I felt like I was always learning something about food hanging out with them. So it was like a fun thing to do, but it just didn't make me feel super great. So that was something that I really like realized near the end of last year. I was like, oof, I just feel exhausted and weak and tired of just feeling that way. But I hate exercise so much. It's literally the bane of my existence. I would rather die than go sit in a gym. It's like the combination of being in public and then also doing something that just doesn't feel good, I think. You cannot get me to do it. So, first thing I did was get back into skating. I got roller skates last year, which actually were a lot harder to pick up than I expected, but I did get also a new skateboard, like a surf skate, from my dad for my 30th birthday, which is very adult of me. But that's been good exercise. And then surfing is actually considered an extreme sport, which I did not know. Obviously, you can do it different ways. Like if you don't go to, you know, big point breaks and stuff, then you're not going to have like the same experience on a wave. It's not going to be as thrilling, but the level of exercise is actually so intense. Like I wore my Apple Watch the other day, and I think in an hour and a half surf session, I think I burned like 500 calories just based on like my cardio. It's like a lot of swimming. You have to be a good swimmer because if you get knocked off your board, you know, you're in the middle of a wave and you have to be able to like catch back up to your board and get back on it. And then it's a lot of like shoulders and back when you're paddling. It's like I actually have muscles now, which I literally, I think I naturally have muscles just genetically because my dad was a gymnast. My mom was a ballet. She did ballet. So like I already had it in me to like be athletic. I just never did sports. So I do build muscle pretty quick, but like, yeah, it's a lot of shoulders and triceps and then back. And then also when you're sitting on your board, you're basically doing a Superman pose the whole time. Like you don't want your legs pushing on the board too much because that affects your balance when you're like paddling or whatever. And then you also have your arms up. So like you're literally just like with your back arched paddling for over and over again. It actually is really intense. Right now I'm having, like I mentioned it in my vlog, but my ribs are killing me. Like they're not broken. Like I haven't like popped the cartilage or anything, but they hurt. Like my body's having to make some really big adjustments. But it really, I think I've caught the bug finally. It really, like it's true that like once you start surfing, it's really hard to stop because it does feel so good. The water's cool and the sun is shining and you're like with other people and like every day is different. It's like you never know like what wave's gonna come next, which is just like feels exciting. There's a sea turtle that hangs out at the place that we surf. Like we've seen that same sea turtle. Like I didn't see him today, but I see him almost every day. At one point, a little turtle head will just pop up and take a breath and swim away. It's like kind of magical. I really enjoy it. So I think that all the combination of just like the constant newness and like the never knowing what's coming next, and then like different people every day, really does it for my brain that really hates to get bored. Yeah, I think here's the problem with that, Donica, is that then we have to stay here. We can't travel anywhere else because we won't have access to an ocean. We already have to go back to the East Coast next year. We have a wedding with my best friend in New York. You would have seen her on past crafting streams and whatever else. Her name's Jackie Montalvo. She's cool. She's an NBC News producer. She's the one that taught me how to knit, and got me into it. So, you can thank her for that. But anyway, she's getting married, to her fiance Eric, next May. So we'll be back in New York for that. I'm in her wedding, which is very fun. I've never been in like a non-Mormon wedding. Like never. I've been in a lot of Mormon weddings. I think the summer that I got married when I was 22, my little sister got married a month after I did. And it was a fight making them a month apart because she was like, I can't wait. And I was like, you have to. Sorry. But yeah, we also had like, I think I had 3 or 4 of my best friends also get married that summer. So it was like one summer where everyone's getting married, including me. And I was in everybody's wedding, and everyone was in my wedding. And then, and I've just been a married person. So this is like the first time that I'm doing like a wedding that's not a very young 20s Mormon wedding, which I'm just excited. I think it'll be so fun. To do like all of the things that you see in the movies and in all of like the, wedding fail videos and whatever else, just normal wedding stuff. I'm excited for that. I think it'll be really fun. There's gonna be a bachelorette party in New Orleans in the end of March. And then, so we'll like be down there in the South for a little bit, and then we'll be heading up to New York for that in May. Yeah, I'm a bridesmaid. So I will be doing all of the things, which I am excited about. They have a really beautiful venue. It's right on the Hudson, just like north of the city in New York City. He is a high school history teacher in like Midtown Manhattan, and she's an NBC News producer. So they're like the most New York couple ever. They're really fun. And she kind of was like my best friend, and really only like in-person friend through all of COVID and all of us like figuring stuff out and leaving the church and all of it. So she's seen us through a lot. All of the nitty-gritty, all of the long talks. She's the one that I'll still like anytime like Mormon news comes out, I'll be like she's the one that will like do like a teleparty and like watch it together. Like the Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey, and I think next we'll be watching the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu that's coming out. But yeah, so I'm excited. She's just like of anyone I would want to be in a wedding like that, where like I'm really comfortable with the people, and like I know her fiance really well too. We spent a lot of time all together, so otherwise I'd probably be incredibly anxious, and I probably would have actually turned it down. This is the one that'll be fun. I'm a little too socially anxious to be in most weddings. I think it's like not something that sounds fun to me unless it's someone that I really love. So it's a little outside my comfort zone. It'll be fun. It's the only big thing that we're doing next year. It's our only plan. It's the only thing I'll be spending any amount of money on. So we're kind of like planning our year around it. So, well, I think we're gonna do, like we'll be up in like Cumming, Georgia, outside of Atlanta again, maybe earlier in the year because it gets really hot, and I don't want to be there past April. It just is too hot. So I think we'll be doing that, seeing our friends in Georgia, the ones that had a baby like the day that we got there last year. We'll be hanging out with them earlier in the year, and their baby that we're barely there for, he's like walking and talking, which is so weird because I feel like we left and he was just still a newborn, and he's not a newborn anymore. Babies grow so fast. Okay, I did better this time. It's looking a little cleaner, a little more like it should. Yeah, so I'm excited to see them. We need to see them. Their toddler, loves us and we love him too. So I don't want to like miss out on saying hi and spending time. But it just does get too hot. So I think it will probably be there like earlier, like January, February. And then we'll head back down. It's like a 7-hour drive back down to New Orleans for the bachelorette party end of March. And then from there, I think we'll head like straight up the coast to New York for the wedding in May. So we're going to try to maybe we'll do some East Coast surfing. We'll see. We'll see what we can manage. Not this year, but next year. I think this year, like we were planning on it. Like Vincent he's only been in SoCal. He's never been north of LA. So we were planning on it, but honestly, we're loving surfing and hanging out and just like saving money, and 2, it's the saving money. Because gas here is extremely expensive, and it would have to be like something that we like planned and budgeted for to do a lot of traveling here. We realized just this year, just with the way inflation is, like it really just ate into what a little savings we had. So we're doing fine, but we're not comfortable, and I think we feel more comfortable sitting here doing a free activity that is surfing and not driving many hundreds of miles. Because next year we have to do that anyway, so we might as well just wait and do it all next year. So I think what we're going to do, instead of doing the whole West Coast this year, which is what our original plan was, I think that we're going to do that next year. And I think what we're going to do is like, we'll do, you know, Georgia in like January, February, and then New Orleans in the spring for the bachelorette party, and then up the coast to be in New York in May. And we've done that trip before. We did the coast all the way up the first time. And then from there, because we did New Hampshire and Vermont and Maine, like that whole area, Massachusetts, we hung out Salem, which I loved. We did all of that last year, so I think that this year we'll go head straight from New York, like back across the country. Well, let's see, if I'm looking in the camera, it would be this way. Back, is it? No, I'm confused. New York's here. Yeah, Washington's here. Anyway, so yeah, I think we'll head back across, and because like, I've been to Minnesota. I have cousins in Minnesota and Wisconsin because I have an aunt in Wisconsin. We grew up going to Wisconsin in the summers. And my dad grew up in Ohio, so we'd visit Ohio and see my grandma and grandpa all the time. Growing up also, like my dad's all like grew up in Ohio, and everyone kind of stayed over there for a lot of their lives, but a lot of them are in Arizona now. So luckily I did all of that as a kid, and I don't need to check those states off my list. But I haven't been to Michigan, and I haven't done Chicago. Like, I'd really love to see Chicago. I just don't know when else we'd see it. And there's a few other states I haven't hit in the middle. Most of the states I haven't done yet are like further west though. Like I haven't done the Dakotas or Montana or Idaho. So I think that's how we're gonna do. We're gonna kind of like meander. We'll probably visit my aunt and uncle in Ohio. They're retired male people, and they are the best. Also childless, and they're just funny. Sometimes she'll send me cards in the mail, which I love so much, based on what she watches here. So they're the best. I really want to see them. Vincent's only met them once or twice maybe, and I haven't been to their house in a long time. So I think we'll probably hit Ohio, maybe try to just, you know, go through like Illinois, touch into Michigan maybe so I can check it off my list, and then I think we'll do the Dakotas, and that'll be like deep summer by then. That'll be like June, July when we'd be there. So I think that would be perfect. Yeah, Chicago then too. I know it's much better weather this summer. And then I think with that in mind, we might make it back over to Washington by like the end of summer. So we'll have a few months not being by an ocean, but I think it'd be fun. We'd be able to like do lots of different states and lots of areas that neither of us have been to. And then late summer, we can kind of make our way back down the coast, which would keep us in the good weather territory. So like end of summer, if we're doing Washington, we could, you know, hit whatever surf spots are around. I know La Push is surfable, like re-Twilight randomly. But yeah, there's a few random spots like that might be fun. Kind of give us a reason to like make our way down the coast. And then we can make our way back down into California by the time that it's cooler outside. The fall is the best time of year for surfing here anyway. So I think that's what we'll do. A lot of it's dependent on money, which is one reason I am back to content making and all of the things, because my Etsy shop is a good supplement, but Vincent's client list has been dwindling a little bit, and he's got to like revamp his stuff. So in the interim, it's good if I have a little bit more going on my end. Which I enjoy anyway. I always regret anytime I'm not like vlogging and stuff. I regret it because I miss not like being able to look back on it. Like I have all these memories that I can't like go watch and see. Let's see. Oh shoot, I needed to add a stitch. Okay, we survived. We're into the toe. I think these stripes will be like they won't even be a full round of stripe. I think they'll be like very small, little one row, next row, a different color. I forgot to add a stitch. I add a stitch every other row from here on out until I hit 26 stitches on each side, and then I switched to circular needles. Oh no. Thanks, Donica. That makes me really happy. I really do mostly make them for me. I put effort into them because I want to be proud of them when I look back at them. It's a lot more fun to watch if they're like well made. But I'd make them even if I was really bad at editing and didn't enjoy it. I just do enjoy it. My problem is always consistency. That's where I'm like, man, my brain just really struggles. I really struggle. Yeah, it is a little complicated. This is what we're working with. Little tiny stitches. Adding stitches is easy though. It's just like, I just added onto the same stitch. Knit the front and the back loop is what that's called. If you're looking at a pattern. I should really write up my sock pattern and like just figure out how to calculate it for people to do like different sizes. It's so easy. I really should, because I have like a few different methods that I've kind of put together from different patterns that I found, so maybe I'll like write it up and then you can make it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, consistency is just the hardest thing ever for me. So that's always the challenge. I go through phases of like feeling really creative and just wanting to like make stuff all the time, and then other phases where I just can't not touch it. I hate all of it, and all I want to do is like consume media and read books and watch shows and not even think about anything that comes out of my own brain. I should probably go to therapy for that. Wah wah. Crochet, crocheting is what I'm good at. Like crocheting I've done my entire life. I think my grandma taught me when I was like 5 or 6. I can't even remember a time where I couldn't crochet. I probably learned it at the same time that I like learned sewing and all the other things that my mom and my grandma taught me when I was really little. I just have a good brain for it. I think my brain is good at figuring stuff out. Like it's something that like once I have like a problem to solve, like you cannot stop me. Vincent actually gets so tired of it because like I can't leave it alone when something needs to be uncovered and analyzed. So crochet I picked up really early, and I didn't even use patterns that much. I would just make whatever I felt like. In high school, funny story about crochet. In high school, it was 2011, 2012. 2012 was my senior year. I graduated in 2012. So it was like the height of like all of the really big fandoms ending. Like, Breaking Dawn came out at the end of, when was it? 2011? 2012? Harry Potter came out, like the last Harry Potter came out at the end of 2011. And then Hunger Games was coming out during that time. There was just so much, like, there's just so much fandom related stuff. In our school, started a Dumbledore's Army after school club. We got one of the English teachers to sponsor it. We were like, I was in the early group of people to do it because I just was a Harry Potter super fan. Now it's so controversial to say that because honestly, J.K. Rowling sucks. But back then it was a beautiful fandom. We all loved each other. So I was in Dumbledore's Army Club, and my grandpa, he died in 2013, which was, I can't even talk about it without crying still. It's been a decade. Because I just miss him so much. He was also an artist, so I think I inherited a lot of my creativity from him. So anytime I'm creative, I think of him. But anyway, in high school, he was getting older. He'd retired from being an architect, and he had bought a lathe just like for fun. So he started going around and finding like scrap wood and making these incredible like custom wands that he would just make for like the grandkids. They had like beautiful like turquoise in them. I think I might have actually, I'm having a vague memory now of explaining this. I used to always keep it on my desk, so I bet at one point in a stream I might have showed it. But anyway, it was in that same time when I started selling wands, I realized I could sell other things too. And because I was already crocheting for fun, I started making crochet stuff. So I had like wands. Oh yeah, Daniel. I had wands, and I would wear boots to school. It's 2011, peak 2011 fashion. I wear boots to school, and I'd keep my wand in my boot, just like, and have other ones in my backpack. And like people would pay, it was like 40 or 50 bucks for like a custom wand, but they were so beautiful. And so I was selling those, and me and my grandpa would split the like funds. And so then I realized I could also sell other stuff, and I was crocheting. So I would just get like cheap acrylic yarn, but I'd make these like oversized, big, fluffy bows, like crocheted bows in like our school colors, and put them on clips or on headbands, and sell those. So like my whole senior year, I had a seasonal job at Rue 21 briefly, and I was so shy and like anxious. I think that was the real start of my social anxiety. I really struggled in that job, and so I would much rather just figure it out myself. So instead of keeping that seasonal job at Rue 21 after the new year, I spent the rest of my senior year selling wands and selling custom crochet hair bows. And I would stay up all night and crochet hair bows for all of the girls at school in all of the colors. It was fun. I saved up enough with that to fund. Me and my best friend took a 4,000-mile road trip up and down the West Coast right after we graduated high school. Much to the chagrin of our parents. They like kind of begrudgingly let us go. It was just me and her. But yeah, we went all the way up from Arizona. We went over to SoCal and then all the way up to Forks, Washington and back down. This is, again, height of twilight. So all of Forks, Washington was still really decked out. So we really wanted to go see it. But yeah, so I saved up enough to do that whole trip with what I sold in high school. Thank you, Donica. I agree. I still, I have my Deathly Hallows tattoo. It's kind of hidden. People can't like really tell what it is. Like, it's not, I don't think it's something that people look at it and be like, ow, a Harry Potter nerd. But I do have it, so I have to live with that, just like all the other millennials that got Harry Potter tattoos before JK kind of went off the deep end and lost all public favor. But yeah, so I do crochet quite a bit. I genuinely very much so enjoy knitting more now, mainly just because it's so much easier to make clothing items with knitting. I think like crochet, I've made some really cute little like lacy looking tank tops and stuff with crochet, but I just think knitted stuff is more my scene. I'm a cozy girl at heart, cozy everything, so knitting kind of suits that vibe for me at the moment. Plus knitted items take so much longer to make, because usually they're bigger pieces, or like socks, small pieces that don't take a lot of space. So it's about like how much time does it take and how much space does it take up in the van. Like that's pretty much everything that we always have to find balance with that in the van. So I'm always looking for crafts where it's like it doesn't take up a lot of space and takes a lot of time to do, so that I'm not producing too much too quickly, because then I have to find somewhere to put it in this 73 square foot space, which is not easy. Still love it, but it's not conducive to a crafty lifestyle. Donica, I think that classes are a great way to do it. It was a real learning curve. I just figured it out on my own with YouTube videos, but it was really hard. It was a real mind fuck sometimes trying to figure out what instructions on like patterns we're trying to say. I do think it's a lot easier if someone can just show it to you and like demonstrate it, like even the way that you hold your yarn is different, or it can be. There's two different ways to do it. People feel really strongly about it. There's continental style and English style. Continental, like I'm doing English style knitting, which is it's where you throw it over and you're holding it with like your hand that's not holding the main project. That's why my stitches are tighter, because in the throwing I have a little bit more tension on each stitch. Continental style, which is what my friend Jackie does, which is why her socks are the different size. She does continental style, which is actually closer to crochet. I think because I crochet so much, I I can't do it. It's too close to crochet and too different than crochet. It like really messes me up because like my hands want to do the crochet thing. But some people switch back and forth depending on the project. So like Jackie holds it like this. And then she'll like grab it like this as she goes. I can't even do it. But yeah, she holds it like crochet. I literally hate this. I hate it. So I'm going back to throwing. But yeah, so like some people figure it out really quick because if they're able to switch back and forth using the same method, I think, I don't know, it was harder for me. Different brains. Different strokes for different folks. For me, it was harder. I had to do something completely different than crochet to really be able to understand what I was doing and figure out how to hold everything with the multiple needles going on. But then some people like switching between is easy because they just hold the yarn the same way. This is a very long explanation. Yeah, I tell me, Dawn, kind of if it's the same with you, where it's like, because it's too close to crochet, doing the continental style is like, it just is extra confusing. That's what it is for me. And also this, you know, this part of my project also has 3 needles to begin with, so that makes it even trickier. Let's see. 803. So we're sitting in a park right now. We're sitting... yeah, throwing... I think the tension's easier. Like, it's just looser with continental style. Where you're kind of like picking it up. With throwing, you just are... It's able to be so much tighter, which is what I like about knitting. Is that it's like you're basically making a fabric instead of like individual little knotted stitches. Like crochet you're making fabric, but like it still feels like stitches. Whereas like knitting, it really feels like one solid piece of something when it's done. And I think like having a tighter stitch helps with that for me. Yeah. We are sitting in Doheny State Beach right now. It's at Dana Point, California. And some of the state parks, we got this thing called the Explorer Pass for California. It's $195 for the year, which actually is such a steal because all of these parks, you can come in the morning and stay all day. A lot of them have like bathrooms and like rentals for different, you know, bikes and boards and whatever else, and like little restaurants even. And then obviously really nice beach with lifeguards. And this one we love because it has a big parking lot. And it's open till 10. Some of them close at sunset, and some of them are open till 10. And this one's open till 10, so it's great, because we can just hang out here until, like, we're ready to go to bed, and then we just go to, like, we go over and park where we want to sleep, and we just kind of, like, lights out. It's quiet time, because we park on, like, a street, where technically nowhere is legal to sleep in your car on the street. That's just illegal everywhere. So we have to be kind of sneaky when we go to a sleep spot, so it's nice to be able to hang out and just, like, have the lights on, and have the windows open, and not have to worry about it until then. So that's where we are tonight. It's dark outside already. But it's great because I can stay here until I'm done streaming. Yeah, Donica, that's exactly why I wanted to learn too. So I just like, I wanted to like make a cardigan or make like a nice tank top, or actually the thing that I love the most that I've made is a vest. Like vests, I actually think are so cute and fun, and they're great for like all the in-between seasons where you can wear a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt or turtleneck or nothing underneath them. Vests have been like the perfect in-between for me. I've only ended up making one full sweater, and it was one that me and Jackie made, just like knitted separately but together. But it's a complicated pattern with like smiley faces across the whole thing, just like a solid smiley face pattern, which means that it was like, it's so thick because, you know, you have all like the like yarn that's being carried through the back of the pattern, so basically everything's like double thick. So I literally don't know when I will ever be wearing that sweater. It's just something that will sit in my closet and I'll be like, wow, that was a fun project. You worry about cops kicking you out? Yep, it is always a concern. I can say that we've never had that happen though, and I think it's because we are so careful and quiet. I think the people who get kicked out are people who either don't check road signs and it's like a clear no parking area, or it's people who aren't sneaky enough, and like neighbors or businesses are like, what are they doing here? Get out. Generally, there's just so many other better things for cops to be worrying about. Like, unless they're giving you a ticket, it's not even worth their time. Because, you know, it's effort on their part, and they don't get anything from it. And they're usually getting called to do other things out in the middle of the night. So we have gotten lucky. Pretty much everyone's gotten the knock at some point. We've only ever gotten like the knock from like security guards and stuff when it was like the end of the night. We were planning on leaving anyway. They just like were impatient and we're like, we're leaving. Like, it was never anything where we were like dead asleep and then we got knocked and like had to drive around at 2 a.m. Yeah, I think that's another benefit of being in a van over an RV also, because RVs stand out so much, and a lot of cities have like specific ordinances against RVs that they don't have for vans. Like, some of them do, but most cities have like exceptions for vans, or they'll have like size restrictions that our van doesn't meet, that like RVs do, because RVs are so much wider. They usually are too wide to park on a city street, according to all the city ordinances in different places. So we kind of sneak by on like that way too, because like it's just we're more of a gray area. Most vans are okay in most places. There's a few cities that are like really strict, like Laguna, super strict. You have to have a pass, and like it's only good for 72 hours to park on the street. We did get a note left on our door warning like, hey, you're not allowed to park on the city street in Laguna one night. But nobody bothered us. They just left a note on our door. So, yeah, where we park now, usually what we've had the best luck with, we try to avoid like parking like in a neighborhood. I would feel so weird being like right in front of someone's house, or like even just like across the street from someone's house where they're like looking out of their window and like see you, like your van. I just feel good, like really weird about that. But also like main city streets are like busy and people walking past all night. So I don't like those either. So we found like the sweet spot with like the main arteries of neighborhoods. Like if you have like a neighborhood that has like a long winding main street with like all the branching neighborhood streets off of it, and there's other people, like a bunch of other people are like that also park on the street, which there is more in California where everything's a little bit tighter. More apartments and stuff, like smaller townhomes and condos, than a place like, you know, like where my parents live in Arizona. It would be weird to park on like the main drag, like the main artery of the neighborhood, because like everyone has driveways, like no one would be doing that. But here, like in these older neighborhoods, for sure, that's how it is. And there's always a lot of people that are sitting out, or that are parked out there, just like around the corner from their house, kind of walking distance from like their townhome or whatever. So like, once it gets past about midnight, there really isn't people coming in and out. Everyone's kind of like parked for the night and gone inside, and we'll just snuggle on in with all the other cars, and then we leave in the morning. So we're not like in front of anyone's house where anyone's gonna be like weirded out that we're there, or looking and like seeing any hint of light or anything. And then it's also like not a main street where like cops are gonna be patrolling around too much. Like they're not gonna, they might drive past on their way to somewhere else, but they're not gonna be like looking for like bad actors in an area like that. It's just like quiet neighborhood street. That's kind of been the sweet spot for us. Ideally, we always look for a street with like a bike lane in between, like the shoulder bike lane and then like the lanes of the drive, so that cars aren't coming too close past the van. Because literally we've had a lot of nights where like cars will be driving past and like the whole van like shakes from the wind, which is like, I mean, not exactly restful. So if we can get a bike lane in between, that's even better. And the street that's nearby here where we've been hanging out, has a really wide bike lane, like pretty much in a whole nother lane. It's just like a really wide street, so it's ideal. When we're further south, closer to Carlsbad, we park right next to the train tracks, the coaster that like runs up and down the coast. It is very loud. It took the cats several days to like get used to it and not freak out. They were very concerned, and it's so funny because you can always tell that the train's coming. Like they always can hear it way before we can. So like as soon as like Goose like gets up and goes and looks out the window, we know the train's gonna come by in a minute. But Vincent hated that spot until he got headphones, or until he got earplugs. So now he just sleeps with earplugs when we're down there, which we have been quite a bit because there's another good surf spot down there. So when we want to be closer to San Diego, we like hang out over there. Where we are right now is about 35 minutes north of that, and you have to go through Camp Pendleton. I don't know if you know anything about California. Here's California geography lesson for you. Camp Pendleton it's like San Diego, and then a little like northern San Diego is like Encinitas. It's like a really wealthy area. And then north of Encinitas is like Carlsbad, which is a kind of cool artsy town. That's where my aunt and uncle live, so we spent a lot of time in Carlsbad. And then next after Carlsbad is Oceanside, which is like, seems nice, but actually is really ghetto. Like, I've never seen so many like police chases as I saw when we were hanging out in Oceanside, of all places. But Oceanside does have the best acai bowl place. Literally the best acai bowls I've ever had in my life. We had in Oceanside, so I missed them. But after Oceanside, you hit Camp Pendleton, and Camp Pendleton is huge. It's a Marine Corps base, and they do weapons testing there. They do like they do all kinds of like training. So they have like entire like kind of like very Middle Eastern looking like mock-up towns set up like right along the coast where they do like practice like urban combat and stuff. It's kind of crazy. And then there's always like flybys from like military like helicopters and planes and stuff too. And that's like a huge long stretch of the coast, probably like I don't know how many miles of coast, a lot of miles of coast. There's a nuclear base there, everyone calls it. They look like giant boobs. They call it all kinds of hilarious names, like the Dolly Parton Monument, Titanium Titties. There's a million names for like the two big like nuclear base buildings. But yeah, those are on in that Camp Pendleton also, and it's all only Marine Corps base. Like you can't even drive. Like there's no exit on the freeway for like that whole stretch, until you get up here to San Clemente, and then Dana Point, and then then you get a little bit further north. It's like Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, Long Beach, and then you're like deep into LA at that point. So it's kind of weird. Like this is the closest to Camp Pendleton. There isn't really much past like south of here until you get all the way down to Oceanside. So we kind of like are strategic about when we come up here and go down here. Oceanside's not worth going to. The pier's really nice, like the pier area's nice. Oceanside's where they filmed Top Gun, so like the original Top Gun house is like right there. It's right next to the pier actually. It's easy to find. I mean, it's worth visiting for a day. It's just like it is a weird mix of like scary, kind of violent homeless people and like, you know, wealthy people who live by the beach. San Diego we do love too. There's a lot of homeless people in San Diego right now. And I know technically we are also homeless, so you know, I'm not judging. But it does make sleeping in random parking lots and stuff a little less safe, unfortunately. I've been to many a nighttime park bathroom with tweaked out people, hunched over, half dressed, sitting there. It's just a little uncomfy. So San Diego for us is tricky, just because just because of like the places that we can hang out are really overrun right now with homeless people. San Francisco, you know what? I've been to San Francisco several times, and Alcatraz is the one thing that I haven't done. We just never we never made it a goal to go. My parents love San Francisco, especially like when I was a kid. They would go there every year for like my stepdad's birthday. His birthday's in July. They'd go there every year. They haven't been in several years. I think that maybe the last couple years actually. They kind of stopped going every year once money got tighter, and now they just go occasionally. But they took each of us, like that was like the thing that they did when we were younger, is like when we were, I don't know, 14, before we entered 9th grade, I think. The parents would like take a singular trip with us, and they took me and my older sister and my younger sister, all of us, we like individually, the year before we went into 9th grade, we like got to go to San Francisco with the parents. So that was the first time I went, and then I went several times after that just because I spent so much time in California. Up and down the coast several times on like road trips and stuff. And I do really love San Fran. There's this one French bistro that plays jazz music at night that I have to visit every single time. We used to eat at Max's, and Max's is closed now, which is sad because they did have the best Reubens. That was my mom's favorite place to eat, was Max's. It was down by the big mall downtown. We'd always do Quaid Tower and Ghirardelli and Boudin's. We'd go to like Pier 39 and go to like the fun little what is it? Like, it's like an old, like very vintage arcade. All like arcade games in a big warehouse, which is really fun. But I haven't been back since we got married. So Vincent hasn't been. I want to go, but it's yet again, it's like, I know that like crime isn't that bad. I lived in New York City. Like, I know how big cities work, but when you're in a van, I do feel like a little bit more nervous about it because I know that cars are something that are targeted quite a bit in San Fran. So I'm trying to figure out how we want to do that because Vincent wants to see it too, but it's kind of like, if we park far away and then come in on the train, like, where do we park? Like, our cats have to be safe and like have to be taken care of for the day. So we're gonna have to figure out if we can do San Fran or how we would do it. It would probably just be a day trip, I think. Maybe we'll make it to Alcatraz finally. Yeah, and it is so sad. San Diego, I mean, if I was like homeless and had to be outside all the time, which haha, because literally I'm outside all the time. Like, there is not a day where like the outside weather is not directly affecting us and the temperatures, because, you know, we have fans. So we technically are outside all the time. But if I didn't have a place to sleep, then I would want to be in San Diego also, because the weather is beautiful. It's a big city. There's plenty of public spaces to hang out in. Like, I totally get why they're there. I would want to be there too. But the drugs make it really hard. And I will say, like, as a member of the community now, wait, let me count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 3 more rounds. As a member now of the technically homeless community, it is really frustrating when people in like really beat up RVs or people living out of their car just like dump their shit everywhere. It is so incredibly frustrating because we work really hard to like leave things cleaner than we found it. I pick up trash, you know, if there's trash around a trash can, I'm bending down and I'm picking up that trash and I'm putting it back in the trash can. Like, we're really careful. We don't dump like our gray water or our toilet stuff anywhere. Like, we really try to respect the places that we're in, and we're really careful about like when we're sleeping at night, we're like lights low, no sound, like very quiet and respectful. So it's so incredibly frustrating when all of these people just like leave everything everywhere and make a huge mess, and it's disgusting and it's unsafe. There's hypodermic needles, there's broken glass, there's like old furniture, like literally in Mission Bay, where we like was a good place to sleep because nobody would bother us there would be these old RVs that would just like straight up set up camp. Like, this is like a public, you know, it's like there's like the beachfront and like the boat, like loading docks and stuff for boats. So it's like people are there all day long. There's like a cute little restaurant and like public bathrooms, and then you just have these like RVs that haven't moved in weeks that like set up string lights and old recliners and just like have an entire camp right there, like on the side of the, like where the sidewalk is, where people should be able to walk. They have now set up camp. And it's just like, first of all, you have an RV. Put your shit back in your house. Like, you don't need to expand out and have your own yard. Ugh, drives me nuts. So it's like, it's so frustrating because like I really do understand. And I understand also how hard it is to do this every day and like also keep up with, you know, making money and doing all the normal stuff. But like, I just, like, they're ruining it for the rest of us. Like, the rest of us who are so careful and quiet and, like, do no harm and leave no trash, they just ruin it for us. And then, like, locals get pissed off and then we don't get to be there anymore because of that. And so that really bothers me. And I have to work hard to be patient and understanding sometimes. Oh, man. I messed up this. I grabbed this yarn from the stitch beneath, and then I messed it all up. Oh well, I'll have to fix it later. I do my best. I got a comment. I got a comment on last, like 2 weeks ago vlog that killed me. You should go look at it. It's like, It was this, this random person. They were so nice about my vlog, but they were like, wait, you care about the environment and you don't know about the beef industry? And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. We literally, compared to like any household, you know how much less water we use? Do you know how we don't contribute to like the electrical grid at all? Because we use solar that we built ourselves? Like, do you know how much less waste we produce? Because like, I used to buy so many clothes. I can't even tell you. I have a 2-foot square closet. I don't buy clothes at like ever anymore unless I'm out. Like, my big purchase of the last month as far as clothes go was new underwear that I buy once every about 18 months. I have not bought clothes besides the underwear I bought last week since the beginning of the summer when I had to buy a couple swimsuits to surf in. Like, I literally never buy anything compared to what I used to buy. Like, our food, we're so good about finishing food because we have so little of it that like we end up getting a lot more creative with how we cook, and like we like find other uses for things, and we can see everything because there's just less of it in here. So like, anyway, we just like we're so careful and we are so considerate and we produce so much less waste and we use so much less water and electricity and all of the things. I just like, people will never be happy because of course, even though we do all of that, apparently I'm not doing good enough because I'm eating beef. I can't. I just can't. I totally understand in an ideal world where eating vegan, plant-based whole foods was like in any way affordable and my gut liked it, then sure. Like, I was vegan for a couple years of my high school years and I felt good until I didn't. And I think that's a lot of people's experience because it's so hard to like get all the nutrients that you need, and it's really expensive, and it's only gotten more expensive as like organic food and vegan food has become a lot more mainstream. I feel like people just capitalize on it now. It's like it's harder to find stuff that's affordable that's also plant-based. And there's all those like viral brands and stuff that all the influencers use. So I'm sorry. I am strong British and German stock. I need meat. I need meat. I need carbs. I don't feel good if I don't have that. So I was dying. I was like, I think I responded something like, sounds like my choice of protein offends you. Maybe you should direct your ire at like the lobbyists and the fast food monopolies that are actually doing most of the harm instead of us regular folks. Lucy! Hi, baby. Come here. Come on. Hi. Don't knock that over. Don't knock it over. It's okay, I got him. Goose goose. What do you need? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Sorry, he's rubbing on the microphone. Are you hungry? Oh. The last time I streamed with these cats, I realized they were kittens. They're not kittens anymore. They're massive. Monster babies. I know. Are you hungry? Earl.
You guys hungry?
That time of night. It's always about 8 o'clock. They start to come over. They wander over. So innocent. Say, Mom, I think I'd like a little snack, please. They're so funny. They do have big personalities. We go back and forth all the time on kids. All the time. But honestly, these cats are such a handful that we are so good for now. They're too smart. They get bored and they're so demanding. And also we do love them because they're very cute. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 2 more rounds. I've only done 1 round. I thought I did more, but I didn't. Donica, are you working on anything? What are you working on? I forgot to ask you. Yes, they are so well behaved. They've really adjusted so well. Like, we're so lucky. It could have been so much worse. Daniel, who's also in the chat occasionally, is my little brother. He's working on his video game. He started programming it when we were in Arizona. Last year. while he was still in high school, and now he's in college, which is so crazy. So he's programming. Crocheting cat snubby blankets. Oh, that's so nice. I love you know what? I take back what I said about doing projects that take a long time, because that's what I really should be doing, is like doing stuff to donate. Duh. That's a great idea. That's like we love rescues. We spend a lot of time anytime we're anywhere where there are pet rescues happening. We always spend a lot of time with the animals and say hi and talk to everybody. If we had a house, we would definitely have more than just 2 cats. I think I should really do that too. If I steal your idea, I hope you think of it as spreading good karma and not me stealing it. I know you probably don't care. That is a good idea though. I have all my crochet hooks and stuff because I use them for knitting too. Oh, how cute. It's that time of year. Fall's coming. I bought some more yarn. So I got this at Hobby Lobby. But they did have a good sale. So I also grabbed, let me show you. I grabbed 3 skeins of this because I have so many patterns, especially for like, or like cardigans and stuff, where like they still can be like a lighter fabric. They don't need to be like really big, thick yarn, but that just takes a lot of yardage. And I never have enough yarn to do it because I always buy like little skeins here and there on sale. So these were only $3.50 each, and it was like 478 yards, and they're so nice looking. They're like a linen, like a soft linen color, and they're just acrylic, but they're like low pill acrylic, so they should be comfy. It should be comfy for a light cardigan. So I got 3 of these, so I think I'm gonna make a cardigan. Because I don't really have one actually, so it would be nice to have one in the van. So I figured I'd just make one since I got this so cheap. A $9 or $10 cardigan is cheaper than I could buy it, and I can get it the perfect size. It's so true. I do follow a lot of like shelters and rescues on Instagram. I donate frequently. But I don't have any connections here in California. We were at PetSmart getting food the other day, like a few weeks ago on a Sunday, and there was this rescue that was doing like a adoption event there on a Sunday morning. First of all the kittens were so sweet, and they had been running a cat cafe that had to close down for like refurbishment, but you could pay for like an hour or whatever to go hang out with the cats. I wanted to go so bad. As soon as they open again, I have to keep an eye on it. But those are the only rescues that I've really talked to, are the ones at PetSmart. The different like adoption spots that they have at all of the ones here. Earl. Oh, girl, I do not have self-control. Here's the thing. I might only have a little bit here okay, I don't even have a little bit. We live literally in the tiniest space. I have 3 different leftover skeins of like soft yarn in this. All of this. And then I also have the 3 skeins I just bought to make a cardigan. And I also have the ones that I'm using to finish that, or to make that like tank top, that like bulky weight tank top. And then I also have all of this. So yeah, I have less than I did when I lived in a house, but I still have way too much for in the van. I have an entire bin and an extra big bag of yarn in our storage unit also, which I would be working through with the stuff, like the projects I'm doing now. I would be working through more of it now if I had access to it. It's just in Arizona, so I can't go get to it really easily. But I definitely should not be buying anymore. If I could go run over to my storage unit and grab yarn that I have plenty. I have too much. That's why I'm trying to work through some of it. I have a hat I need to finish too. I found like the most perfect hat pattern that I love so much. That Vincent and we both wear these hats all the time now. It's like a short beanie. So like it doesn't have any extra, it's like just short, like. And the pattern that I found for it, it's based on like your head measurements. So like you get the perfect fitting hat every time based on like your head measurements. It's just like a few simple calculations you plug into the pattern, and then it like tells you how many stitches to do. And so I kind of went crazy. That was how I ended up with this whole bag of yarn, honestly, is because I just ended up buying a bunch of bulky yarn to make these beanies. Yeah, it's a beanie, but it's like a short beanie. I have one actually that's in here that I didn't quite finish that is close to done. Let me show you. I started working on it, and then I got busy, and then this bag accidentally ended up underneath the bed where it's not easy to get, and so then I just didn't touch it for weeks. But I do need to finish it. So yeah, I have like a whole bunch of like leftover bulky yarn from making those hats. Let's see. This is a wool yarn that we found. We got it at this random little, like, it's a random little sheep farm in Vermont. And it was just self-serve. Like, they dye their own yarn and they just leave it in this cute little house that they built. Like, a little shed they built on the side of the road by their farm. So you just, like, pull up and get what you want and then, like, Venmo them. It's so fun. Yeah, so, like, here's one it's literally almost done. I just need to finish doing the decrease rows. But it has, like, some purl stitches underneath the brim of the beanie so that it's like extra bulky. It's cute. I think it's cuter. And then it's just like the length of like your head, and then it just does like a quick decrease back. I think this is the size of my head. I think so. Wow, this looks really cute. I'm really selling you on this beanie. But yeah, like this is it, like almost done. They're just really cute, and they don't have any extra like bulk to them. So they're like really comfy to wear all winter long. Maybe I should put my hair down. It's a lot cuter with my hair down. But yeah, they're super quick to knit up, and because they're so short, they use way less yarn. So you can get like 2 hats out of like 1 skein of bulky yarn, which I love. Here, I'll give you the full effect with my hair down. I have surfer hair today that I didn't wash. It is very long now though. But I just love them for winter. I think that they're like so cute because you kind of get like the cool like hipster vibes with like your ears out a little bit more. I just love them. I think that they're like the cutest ever. And they're so comfy to wear. They don't have any extra bulk, so like they're not quite as hot. I do love them. I think that they're really fun. So I guess I gotta make more hats. Vincent already has all of these colors in hats. I'll just make more for myself. The first one that I made is like this light blue yarn that I am making the rest of this tank top out of. This one, which is like, I love this color. This color is like my favorite. I have a lot of clothes that color too. So that hat was like my go-to all of last winter. I wore it all the time on my bad hair days. Okay, put that away. Back to work. Yeah, so I think I need to finish that brown hat, and then I think I might find some other pattern or something that I can use up the rest of that bulky yarn with. I'm making this tank top. If I like this, maybe I'll just like make another one with all that other yarn. That's because this is cute, you know, two-tone blue, but the green and like the dark and the yellow, I think they'd all look cute together. So I'll figure it out. I'll see what I can do. I do wear mostly tank tops these days, and knit ones just look so much nicer. I feel more put together, even though it's the exact same thing, it's just knitted. And no one knows that I made it myself either, so there isn't even that factor, but hi. Hey, baby. Just looking out the window. I closed the door to this stream, so they're confused. Because usually we have the door open. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, so close, but so far. It's starting to look like something, though. An actual toe of an actual sock. I got past the hard part. Once I get into like the body of the sock, then it's smooth sailing. And the heel actually is really fun to do because it's just, they call it German short rows. So you don't have to like add or remove any stitches. You just keep everything on your little circular needles. And it makes it very fun and magical to do. I'm not even going to try to describe it, but just trust me, it's very satisfying. Vince is playing. Vince, what are you playing?
It's a Japanese boxing game.
A Japanese boxing game. It's like a retro game.
Yeah.
Last night, or today, I messed up my foot. I don't think you can even see it on camera. Well, maybe you can. That is all bruised. Wrecked it surfing today. It was my own fault too because my leash got caught around it and then a really bad wave ripped my surfboard out of my hands and scrunched up against my foot. Yeah, they will. I mean, it was really cool for all of, like, up until, I don't know, up until mid-July. It was still pretty chilly here a lot of the time. Like, I needed a sweatshirt pretty frequently. Now it gets to be like 80 during the day, so it's not quite as comfy as it was. But I think it'll get cool again really fast. It seems like there isn't much of a hot season here, which is so nice. Yeah, I was telling Daniel this earlier, so he just gets to hear it again. But yeah, we went surfing today, and like the forecast said like 2 to 3 foot waves, which is like, I surf in that all the time. That's like my comfy spot. So I didn't even think about it, but they were way bigger and way rougher than the forecast showed. They felt huge. They felt like at least 5 feet, honestly. And there's at one point like this. So this is Dana Point. So like you have like this scoopy part. So like Dana Point is up here, and then you have like the part of the beach right here that everything's rocks. So you have to be careful regardless. But like this part over here is called the Boneyard, and it's literally like sharp rocks and like rocky formations underneath the water. So like you can only really do it at high tide, because at low tide, like literally you're just scraping your board along the rocks. So that's not great, but it does make for really good waves, because it's just like they hit the rocks and they just kind of like kind of coast over them. So the Boneyard's a popular place for beginners for that reason. But then next to that, like as you continue on down the beach, you have like the Boneyard, and then you have just like other just waves coming off the rocks deeper underneath. And then when you get to the other side of the beach, they have like this big rocky like outcropping, like concrete bricks. And the other side of that is what they call the river mouth, and it is like, you know, when the tide is high enough, or when there's like rainwater and stuff, it'll like run down into the ocean. Sometimes they're disconnected and sometimes they're connected, but the road above goes over it. So it's just like this like little scoopy area. And right there, there's also really good waves. But today, like the wind was really strong, and I usually prefer being closer to the Boneyard, like kind of just more close to like the scoopy bit. It's a little bit gentler, and the waves start further back, so you can kind of ride them for longer. But the wind just pushed us all the way down to the river mouth, where the waves were a lot more intense and like nonstop. Like as soon as the set would come, it was like boom, boom, boom. Like Vincent was able to ride them. They were way too big for me to ride today. And there was one point where like me and this old guy, like we got knocked off of our boards, and we were just like clinging to our boards. That's just wave after wave. He couldn't get back on his. He's probably a lifelong surfer. Like he's one of those dudes that's like there all the time, that like I'm sure is there literally all the time. But yeah, no, we both were just like, this is rough. Me and this random old guy. And we yeah, I just was getting tossed around, so I kept trying to get back up on my board, because you know, then you don't have to swim. But I got knocked off, and it was a really strong wave that like ripped my board out of my hands, and I think my leash was like wrapped around my foot. So like my foot was like this, and then the leash, I need a cord. This is my leash, and this is my foot. It's like my leash just went like this. off my foot. It hurt. I could feel it happening, but I couldn't do anything. My surfboard's, 7 feet away. But as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, that's gonna bruise. And it did. It hurts. I iced it, so it should be fine. It's not like broken or anything, but just bruised. Thank you. I've had a few good waves. Some days I feel like I'm getting worse. I think for me right now, it's just learning how to like trust my instincts and do my own thing. Because I think I stick too close to Vincent, and Vincent is a bigger dude and more aggressive and like just at a different skill level than I am. And so I tend to want to like follow him where he's going and then just die. Everything is hard and hurts, and I can't actually get on waves and like ride waves the way I should. So the last couple surf sessions, the last few days, I've been like, I come back really frustrated because I just feel like I'm not able to, like I'm out there for hours and I'm only able to ride like a few waves. I just get tossed around a whole bunch. So that's my own fault. I need to like practice just being on my own, doing my own thing. You know what I realized? I messed this up. I was supposed to do an increase on the last stitch, and I did it on the one stitch in, so now I have an increase that's one off. I don't know if I can show you. It's too tiny. This one, right here. This one should be here. All the other ones are here, and then you have boom, and then boom. Stupid. I gotta fix it. It's gonna bug me. It's gonna bug me while I'm crafting it. Of course, once it's done, I won't ever think of it again, but while I know about it, I gotta fix it. Yeah, I do have hope that someday I will be decent at surfing. It just depends on how much time I can put in and how much I can, like, be brave and do it even when it sucks and it's hard. But it feels good to do that. I think it's helping me. It's one of the reasons I think I was able to get back into pattern making. It's just, like, helping me in other areas of life, too. Just, like, doing good things, or doing hard things, and because you know it's good for you. I think that's probably why most people love it and do it their whole lives, because it just is that for people. I guess I'm sold. I guess I'm indoctrinated. I guess got the bug. Yeah, I get confused. This increase that I'm doing on this sock, I'll show you. It's you knit one through the front loop, and then you keep that loop on your needle, and then knit again on the same stitch through the back loop. So you're basically like adding an extra stitch. Where there's one stitch, now there's two stitches. But the problem is that the way that it is worked, you can see where the increased stitch is, and it's always to the left. Like, it's always the second stitch of the two. So if you want it to look even on your sock, on this side, you have to do it on the first stitch, because then it adds an extra stitch on the inside. And then on this one, on the other side, you have to do it on the second to last stitch, because it adds a stitch in between the, like, before the last stitch. I don't even know if that made sense. But, so if you mess that up, then you can see it, which is annoying. I think I can fix it, though, because it uses the same amount of yarn for the increases. It's just, I'm just gonna undo. I'm gonna undo the stitches that are involved in the mess up. Yeah, I can fix it. So I'm not having to add a stitch where there wasn't one. It's just moving it over. So put that back. I'm undoing the extra one. Just gotta keep everything on my needles. Undo, please. Thank you. Gonna rework it. And it's 2 rows down, which is tricky because I did it the in-between row already. So, okay. So I undid it, and now I'm gonna redo it on this stitch instead of the one more stitch in, which is where I messed up. Let's see. Okay, that row I'm not messing with right now. This one. This is confusing. Okay, so it's this stitch that needs to be back on my needle. And now I'm doing one stitch, and then I'm just gonna do the whole thing over again so I don't mess it up. Okay, now we're putting this back. Do it, and then we're doing another one through the back loop. But I gotta add that back in. Knitting socks is what a lot of people who also knit don't do, because knitting socks is tricky, so you are not alone in feeling that way. I don't know why it just works for me. I think it's just because it is shorter and quicker to do, so it like feels more fun. Okay, so I fixed that. Now I'm gonna have to go back and do the other row that I just did. This is the nice thing I will say that I love about knitting so much, is that you can mess up and you don't have to undo the whole thing. Like the rest of my stuff is just sitting here waiting for me to come back to it, and I can just rework the few little stitches that I messed up. It's pretty nice, I will say. Crochet, you have to just undo it. Start over. Okay, I fixed it for sure. I think I did it. I need to. This is very hard though. Because I'm not working with the tail end of the yarn, I'm working with like yarn that's already been worked into other stitches, which means that it's... I'm gonna pull it over my needle by hand. I can't just grab it easily. We did it. We did it. Hell yeah. Ah, fixed. Looks so much better. Yes. Now it is how it's supposed to be. I know this camera doesn't, like, zoom really good, but now it's straight. Like it didn't even happen. You know what's the real tragedy, Donica? Is that one of my best friends, the one in Georgia who had a baby, she hates socks. Like, she will not wear them. Even in the dead of winter. Like, it gets pretty chilly there. It gets into, like, the 30s. We spent a few nights in the 20s there. Actually, also. She will wear sandals all winter long. She hates socks. She hates closed-toe shoes in general. I almost made her a pair of socks when she had her kid, and I'm so glad I found that out before I did, because it would have been a tragedy to make socks that she hates. So I can never make her socks, which is just inconvenient. Luckily, I can make Jackie socks at least. I can make my mom socks. I've given my mom socks for Christmas. Or for her birthday last year, actually, which is the 18th of December, so it's practically Christmas. Daniel, my little brother, loves socks, so I can make them for him. Vincent likes my socks. He wears them in the winter. Because wool, you know, warm, cozy. But there isn't really anyone else in my life to make socks for. And I don't even wear socks that much. I wear closed-toed shoes rarely right now. I mostly wear them when we go to the movies, because we still have the AMC A-list. Like, we've had it for, you know, years and years now. Since, like, literally, since 2018? I think so. Because we had it in New York while we were quarantined. Anyway, I wear closed-toed shoes to the movies because I get cold, and I feel weird just with my toes hanging out while I'm in the recliner seats. But that's the only place that I've been wearing closed-toed shoes lately, because it's been hot here. I think it might be Donica. I think she grew up, like, with the woods backing up against her house, so she spent a lot of time outside. And since I grew up in Arizona, like, it's too hot. I mean, I would longboard, like, skateboard longboard barefoot when it wasn't summer. I was barefoot a lot, but, like, it, you know, you still just have to wear sneakers sometimes in Arizona. You wear them to bed? That's overstimulating for me. I don't like being, I don't like sleeping naked because I get cold, and I don't like having to be totally covered by my blanket all the time. I like to be able to adjust my temperature quickly, but I also don't like anything that will, like, get stuck on blankets and sheets, which socks would for me. I'm a strict granny panty and big t-shirt wearer only to bed. I could never wear socks. Even in the dead of winter, I'll just put an extra blanket over like my foot area. That's my strict can't do it. But in the winter, I will say, like, in the van, we have the nice little checkerboard tile that I laid. I love it. I think it's darling. I'm still happy with it. But it gets so cold in the winter. So we do have a rug that we lay down for the cat's feet so that they're not just freezing, trying to eat their little food in the dead of winter. So I think like in the winter I do wear socks more because it's just too cold. On like our floor is freezing because it's just sitting above the street with a little bit of insulation. So you really feel the outside temperature on the floor here more than in a house. Let's see. Okay, one more counting time. Just moved all my stuff around. Otherwise, right now my next big purchase that I'm saving for is like Birkenstocks, like sandals, like Arizona sandals. I have some knockoff, like just they're real leather still, but they're not like Birkenstock brand, like clogs. Slides that I love in the winter, and I think that they're so cute with socks. They're like something that I used to wear in college 2014 2015 that everyone made fun of me for, like, ew, socks with sandals. And then, you know what, now they're cool. Gen Z hit, and now crew socks are back in, and socks with everything is fine. So I still love to wear that, and I really want like the sandal version for summer. I would wear more socks, I think, if I had the Birkenstock slides. I just don't. I have some random like Cushionaire ones or whatever that I got for $25 at the beginning of summer, from, I don't know, TJ Maxx, that I knew would only last a season. But I just wanted to see if there's something that I ended up wearing a lot. They're like white, and they actually do, I wear them all the time. So I just want a version that I can wear with socks, because these ones have like the extra like little toe straps. They're like the same style as like the Birkenstock ones that have a little like in between the toes too. So you can't wear them with socks, but I have ended up wearing them a lot, and I think they look cute with all my clothes. So I need to invest in like some real ones, because Birks just work. I think I might just have a thing for retro like shoe brands. I love Keds, I love Tevas, I love Birkenstocks, I have a pair of Doc Martens, and Reeboks. That's like most of what I wear. I have Vans that I wear for skating, but it's kind of funny. Oh shoot, did I might have messed this up. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I did. I was supposed to do an increase row on the last one, and I didn't, so I gotta go back. Fastest way to go back with knitting, if you have an extra needle like this, is just to run it through the stitches and then undo it all at once. So you don't have to go stitch by stitch. It's way faster if you can do it. They're so sharp, these needles. I feel like they are. I think it's funny. I've loved them since high school. 2010 to 2012, those shoes were not cool. Like, nobody was wearing those. Nobody liked them. They were like the nerd shoes. But my family was so poor, we pretty much only shopped at thrift stores. And in Arizona, where we were, there were a lot of snowbirds that would come and like donate their stuff. to the thrift stores there. So there were always like nicer brands that I could find. And also 2012 was also way before thrifting was really cool. So like me and my mom were the only ones that did it, and I taught my friends how to do it with me in high school. So then, my high school friends would go thrifting with me, but it's because I showed them how to do it. So there's always like plenty of stuff to find. Now I feel like it's so hard to find anything good at thrift stores because everybody's like thrifting is cool now. But back then it was not, and so it was easy to find like high quality stuff, and it was always stuff from older people because of the snowbirds. So it was like I just ended up wearing a lot of older brands, I think, because it was like I'd rather have that than like some like crappy Walmart brand that would fail, and like my family couldn't afford to get name brand stuff, so I would just find it at the thrift store and wear it. So I had some very interesting style choices when I was younger. I'm a lot more mainstream in my fashion choices now, but I was real experimental when I was young. I got made fun of a lot. That's probably why I didn't get asked on any dates, because I was like the weird girl with a bunch of granny clothes and clothes I altered myself. I taught my friends how to tailor also, and I would tailor all my own clothes to fit me because they were not made for a 17-year-old girl. And then I also chopped my hair into a pixie cut my senior year of high school too. So I was a little bit of a pariah, but I had a lot of fun with my clothes. Someday I need to like pull up old pictures. I was really feeling myself. I thought I was so cool, and I was like, all these people just don't get me. And I would like I took so many selfies of like my outfits. I was like, I need to remember this. I need to remember what I did here because this is so cool. And like literally it was not cool. It was just weird, but it's fine. I had a good time. And I always had better quality clothes that just were decades out of style. I do still have, there's a few like shirts and stuff that were such good quality that I still have them. Like I am 30 years old, I still have the shirts I thrifted in high school because they're just so much better. Like stuff I'd get from, H&M or whatever fell apart ages ago, but those have lasted. They're still some of my favorite things to wear. I didn't even bring them. Like I don't even have any of those things in the van because I didn't want to like ruin them. So I left them in the storage unit where they would be safe. Because I do go through clothes a lot faster in the van. Like, I'm pretty hard on my stuff. And because I have so many less clothes, I have to wear them a lot more frequently. So they definitely get a lot of use out of them. I've had to like... So one of the first times in my life, actually, that I've really like gone through clothes and worn them down. And had to like repair them or throw them out. Like I couldn't just like donate them because I got tired of them. It was like they were actually dead clothes, could not be worn anymore, which I feel good about. It's just another way that we're being more sustainable. Feels good to actually like see something through its whole life, because I spent a lot of money on clothes that I never like kept all the way through their lives. I get tired of them, or they were not good quality, and so I never wore them, so then I ended up donating them. That was like a lot of my my college experience. I worked for my stepdad's company, and it grew really quickly, and so I was making really good money. It was good money for the time. I think it was 2015, and I was making like $3,000 a month plus bonus in college. So I felt rich, and I bought so many clothes, and they were all so shitty quality. I had a huge closet, and I don't have hardly any of those clothes anymore because they just they weren't worth keeping. I think that moving to France really helped with that because I had time to rediscover quality and appreciate simplicity and having a little bit less. Because I lived out of 2 suitcases for a year and a half. And I knew that everything that I bought, if I couldn't fit it in a suitcase, I had to donate it. I couldn't take it with me. So I was a lot more conscious about what I'd buy. And I, really, wore through a lot of those clothes also. That was kind of where that started, I think. I get that. I enjoy clothes shopping. I enjoyed it more when I had more spending money. I have less now. I think that's just part of us being married, is like we both have needs and we have to share the money that we have, so we don't both get what we want all the time. When I was just like a single person and I could spend my money however I wanted, I never had any savings and I always had a lot of clothes. So I think, like, I really think part of it is just being married. I'm just a lot more cognizant of how I spend my money, and I feel more guilty spending things, like money that I don't need to spend. So I buy high quality stuff that lasts longer for sure because of that, I think, more than anything. My little sister's always hated buying clothes though. Like, that was like something that we really struggled with, because every year for back to school, she's only 14 months younger than me. 15 months younger than me. Anyway, so like we had a lot of like overlap in like what we liked at the different like stages of childhood. But my mom loves shopping and she loves finding a deal, and I inherited that, and like I loved, oh my gosh, back to school was the best. And then my sister just like, oh, she hated it. She'd be so tired and miserable. And like there were so many times where me and my mom would be having like a grand old time, and my sister would just be like, fail after fail in the dressing room, just so frustrated. I always felt so bad. And like that hasn't really changed. And it's interesting, like as we've gotten older, like it took me a lot longer to get to where she already was at, which is the same, like just she hates it, so she'll buy something that's high quality, and then that hopefully like she won't have to deal with it for a long time. She won't have to think about shopping for a while. So like she definitely was an early adopter of like Lululemon and like some of the nicer brands where like you spend a lot more, but then like they're like lifetime wear kind of stuff. I never really figured that out until much later. She was good about that. And her closet's always so cohesive too. I feel like my style is just so all over the place. I like what I like, and I feel like clothes are like putting on a different personality every day. So I have style that's more consistent than it was, but I still have a lot of random things in my closet that like don't fit in because I just like the individual items. Whereas like her closet is so incredibly cohesive, like all the colors go together and all the fits go together, and it's just like everything makes sense. Couldn't be me. I am so all over the place. I'm not gonna try to turn the camera because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put it back, but maybe I will. I can move my computer. Goose is just so cute right now. I know not everyone loves my cats the way I love my cats, but like, look how cute he is. Oh no, oh no.
Hold on. Yep, I think it's good now.
Hey baby.
Yep, it's the thing.
He's just so cute. He's fat. He needs to lose a little bit of weight, according to the vet. He's 16 pounds. He should probably be like 15 pounds or 14 pounds. But he just loves food so much and we can't get him to exercise.
It's not from lack of trying to.
No, we've tried everything. We take him out on the leash and he just flops. He just lies there. And then, like, the most he'll walk is to find the nearest patch of dirt to, like, roll around in. It's impossible. So we just feed him less. He has lost a little bit of weight. He's better than he was, but he just loves food and hates to move. He's always been like that. Like, even when he was a kitten, he would just, like, sit and watch the toys and not actually go try to get them. And then once he got bigger, he just lays there, like, that's it. He won't chase it. He won't really play. He's just not interested. The one thing that really gets him going is puzzles. Like, he is so good at figuring out puzzles, and he loves puzzles. So, sometimes I'll buy, like, the cardboard puzzles, because he also loves to destroy cardboard. So I'll buy, like, something like that he can figure out how to get the tree and then destroy if he wants to. I always save, anytime I use up a Kleenex box, I'll like put treats in the empty Kleenex box and let him try to figure out how to find, like, get them out. Vince,
Yes.
Daniel says hello.
Hello, Daniel.
Daniel, how's school going? Are you doing good? Are your classes killing you or are they easy? This is very important. I have to wait for Daniel's response. There's a delay. 2, 4, 6.
It's only like a 5-second delay. 6, 8.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Donica, thanks for hanging out. I'm so glad that you were here. I love chatting with you. I think I will be doing this every week, so I'll see you next week. Have a good night. Daniel finished his first semester. He passed all his classes with A's. I'm so proud of you, Daniel.
A's on all classes?
Mm-hmm.
Darn.
Good job. That is also a factor. True, Daniel. You want to hear something funny? Have a good night. Daniel. There's this guy that I'm going back and forth with on, oh, in Arizona. Excellent. That's good. There's this guy I've been going back and forth with on Instagram. He's like insisting. He's insisting that all of the like Harris Walls rallies, like the pictures, are AI'd. I'm like, dude. I had to get off of Instagram today because he was too annoying. He says that he makes movie posters, and so he's a Photoshop expert. So like, he should know. Like, the one reflection in the plane doesn't show the crowd, so that means that the crowd is made by Midjourney. And I'm like, first of all,
No.
first of all, that's not how reflections work. Second of all, it's one picture out of hundreds of pictures and videos. So are all of them fake? And he just like, he got so offended. He was like, literally, you just have dogmatic faith in your leaders. I'm like, what? No, I just don't trust your assumptions. I don't like your take. That's it. So, that's been my drama. My drama this week is on Instagram. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. It's just so silly. Because you've messed with... You use DALL-E, right? Have you ever used Midjourney or just DALL-E? I've messed around in Midjourney. Midjourney still sucks at people. Like, I'm sorry. There'd be a bunch of people with, like, 6 fingers, and all the text and all the signs would be messed up. There's no way. It could not be true. I don't believe it. Just like most things that are claimed to be AI, you can tell if they are or not. But it is funny. I've been glued to all the political news because things were too depressing. And then they got less depressing.
Yes.
Hi! Just discovered your page by looking up Cross Stitch with me. I'm so glad that you found me. That's so happy. I haven't been live in a long time. This is the first time in literally 3 years. Because I used to have an office space in New York City. And then I moved into a van. But I finally have the right computer and we have good internet. So I'm able to do it again. So welcome. Nice to see you. I feel like you came in at a weird time. I don't usually talk politics. But it was just my brother on here, so we're chatting. Yeah, Dan, you've only used DALL-E, but AI still sucks for people, doesn't it? I feel like I have like tried to do all kinds of stuff, and none of it is good. It's all very obviously not real. especially videos. Like, you can really tell when people are moving. So the guy, the movie poster guy, insisting that because I don't agree with his bad take, I have a dogmatic faith in someone I actually don't care that much about, cracks me up. That's true, they are. I just don't think that they're there yet, especially for lots of different angles of the same scene. That would be really, I can't even imagine how you'd be able to make that look so realistic that nobody thinks it's fake. Did you see, there's like this one AI video that's like, it's going viral right now, where it's like someone's like, I just wanted to like animate this video of me, of like this picture of me and my grandma, and it's like a demon baby. It looks so terrifying. I saw it on, I think, Reddit the other day. Super
I sent
funny.
it to you.
Did you send it to me?
Yeah.
I can't remember where. Was it Instagram?
Forgot if it's. I think it's Instagram. Yeah.
Okay, it's Instagram. It's really funny.
It just like looks like the baby at first is cute, and then suddenly he's just like
Thade, what are you working on? Are you working on anything? I know you didn't plan to come here for crafting purposes, but this is what we do, is we craft. I'm making a new pair of socks. This is the toe. This is as far as I've gotten, because I talk a lot. But you're always welcome. I think I'm going to do this every Thursday night. That's what I used to do, like once a week. I think I used to do like Saturday or Sunday nights, but Thursday works better for us now because we live in a van. So I have to work with my husband's schedule too, a little bit more than I did before. When we lived in an apartment. Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Haha! Finally finished. Let's see. Maybe if I didn't mess it up. I feel like I might have messed it up. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. No, I didn't mess it up. We're good. Gotta double check that everything looks right because I've been literally talking so much. Cute. That's fun. Are you crocheting or cross stitching? Or cross stitching? Because you just said cross stitch with me. Duh. I used to only do cross stitch on these, but then I moved into a van, and knitting is a little bit easier on the road than cross stitching is. Cross stitching is so, you have to be so careful, and it's kind of slow. So knitting is just a little bit easier. I feel like I messed this up, but I can't tell where it would be messed up. So I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong. I don't know if maybe I didn't do anything wrong. Because usually, let me explain. Usually this string that's on like this part of the toe right here is the beginning of the row. That's how, I mean, I've made socks like this a million times. So this is the beginning of the row, but I'm on the end of the row, but like everything looks right. So I don't know what I messed up. I think I'm just not gonna worry about it because it doesn't actually really matter anyway. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong anyway. But I just want to make sure I didn't mess it up somewhere. It looks right, so I guess I'm just gonna keep going. Yeah, that's true. It is. Well, you're always welcome here. We are pretty chill. We just hang out. I've been on YouTube for a long time. My channel's tiny. Because I've never been consistent with it. But I just love it. I have a lot of crafty and cross-stitch people and a little bit of crochet, a little bit of knitting. In my audience, and then because we live in a van, I automatically have a lot of van lifers too. So it's it's a good mix. And I started actually started vlogging in France when we lived in France. My husband's French. So I started that in 2018, and then when we moved back to the US, we lived in New York City. So I kept vlogging there, and then COVID hit, and so I started making crafty videos because I was doing a lot more of that when I had free time, and then it just kind of blew up from there. And now I just vlog. I haven't cross-stitched, like physically cross-stitched in a year, because I just don't have all the supplies in the van anymore. I finished my last big project and then I left it in my storage unit. But I do make cross-stitch patterns every week on Etsy. So I make the patterns, I just don't stitch the patterns anymore. At least currently. I'll get back to it eventually. I do have some patterns that that I purchased forever ago that I never made that are definitely like still on my list to do. But I just switched over to knitting when we were driving around because yarn shops were so much more fun to go visit than like where you could get cross stitch supplies. Yarn shops are like a thing. So it was fun to go look at yarn in different states and like find things that match different states. So I started making a pair of socks for each state we visited. That's how I was like cross stitch and crochet up until 2022. I made a friend in New York the last year that we were there. We left early 2022 to build our van. We built it in Arizona. But I started thinking about it while we were in New York. And we had my best friend in New York, she also crocheted like I did. And I taught her cross stitch, and then she took up knitting. So then I learned knitting from her. So we've kind of passed crafts back and forth, she and I. But we both started with crochet. I've crocheted my whole life. So knitting is a newer thing for me too, but I do really enjoy it just because I like what I can make with knitting. Crochet I love to make like, I used to make a lot of like little bags and like hats and like I think like the kind of lacy, like granny square-esque kind of like crochet tops I think are really cute. You can only have so many of those. I think knitting is just so much more flexible for like making stuff to wear, and since I live in a van where I don't have a lot of space for just like accessories and stuff, I think that's why I switched over to knitting more, just especially in the van. It just made more sense. For that, I do have too many socks now though, because I keep making socks. Because like, one skein of yarn I can make 2 pairs of socks out of one of these, and they're so cheap. So I end up buying them all the time, and then I make way too many socks. Oh, that's nice. It's less exciting than it sounds. A lot of it is just hanging out in parking lots. We went into it to save money more than we needed adventure too. We were sick of living in New York. It was like, I love New York. I spent 2.5 years there. Right after I turned 18, I moved there with a nanny job, and then just ended up staying there and made friends and like built a life. And then I left for college, and that was when I met my husband. And then when we moved back, we spent another 3 years there. So I spent a lot of like my adulthood there. Out of a decade, 12 years of adulthood, I've spent like 7 years there. But after COVID, we were just so ready to go explore other places because we really didn't leave the city for like, 2 years. So a lot of it was kind of like, we can save money on rent and we can do some traveling. But it wasn't like the typical like influencer van life thing where like they do it with really big like content goals in mind. So our life's pretty slow, I would say. Pretty low key. Totally not like the Instagram, TikTok van life thing, I think. I do love it though. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to My circular needles. We don't know. We go back and forth all the time. We both, well, Vincent turned 30 last year. I turned 30 this year. So, like, it's definitely time for us to start thinking about it. I think a lot of it depends on our finances. I just don't believe in bringing kids into the world unless you can, like, really give them, like, a good, solid foundation to build a life on for themselves. Because I just don't think that the world needs more people. It's not how I was raised. I was raised much more conservative, and like I'm sure all of my siblings will have lots of kids. Both of my sisters, my older sister and my younger sister, already have 2 kids each. So I'm kind of the odd one out here in my family. But I just really feel like unless we can give them a really great life, I don't think it's worth it, because the world has plenty of people. We don't need more people. What we need is really good parents. And unless I can be an amazing parent, I just like I'm not willing to do it. We have 2 cats right now that live in the van with us. So that's kind of like the thing. I think right now we definitely financially aren't in a place where we could provide any kind of stable life for a child. But we are thinking like another few years of van life. We'll revisit it, I think. We just tell everyone no right now because it just makes more sense than trying to explain how often we go back and forth. But I will say too, like I really love animals, and I'm kind of I'm not a huge environmentalist, but I'm an environmentalist. I would say I care about it, and I think about it a lot. And I would say, as an ADHDer, a lot of my special interests have to do with like animals and being outside. I get really excited about it. So I think part of me, I wouldn't mind a life of like conservation and like animal rescue also. That seems like also a beautiful, noble thing to do. We have 2 rescue cats that I love to death. We'd have a lot more rescue animals if we didn't live in a van. But I think I don't think there's any difference between like having a kid that can do great things or doing great things yourself. And I think it's just you choose how you spend your time. So I go back and forth. I think it depends on where we end up living too. And what our friends are like and what the local community is like. I'm such a believer in like community living and like found family. Not that like I don't have a family that I love, but just like also creating family everywhere you are. And like kind of like communal child raising, I think is cool. So I think like I would not want to ever do it if I was just like alone. Like being a stay-at-home mom with just like toddlers, I would die. I don't think I could do it. I really admire people who do it. My sisters do it, and I see how hard it is, and I greatly admire them, and I love my nieces and nephews to death, and I love being the helper. Vincent and I love being the village, so that's the long answer. We go back and forth all the time. We love the idea of all of it depending on our situation, I think is the clincher. But for now, we really do love our cats. They're pretty great. Animals are fun. Sometimes I'm just like, we live in a van. We drive every day. Sometimes I just like cannot believe that we have these little furry creatures that just like hang out with us in our van. Like, how weird is that? Just baffling. How did this happen, Goose? Goose. Have you watched any of my videos? Have you seen our animals? I will show you our cat, Goose, if you want to see. He's sleeping right here. His brother Earl's up front. They're very large cats.
Hey, baby. Do you want to be on camera?
And they're nice boys.
Do you want to be on camera?
They're like 3 years old. We rescued them as little tiny kittens in New York City. We got really lucky with them. They have the best little personalities.
I'll bring you on camera.
Oh, Vince's gonna bring him over. Wow, what a special treat! There he is.
Big boy.
Goose.
Hey, baby.
He is a giant baby.
Beep beep. Super patient too.
Yeah, kids are a huge responsibility. I think people I think truly people spend way too little time thinking about kids. This is Vince. New introductions.
Hi.
So fun. Now you can go back and watch videos and you'll have context.
Yeah. A lot of context.
Super context. Yeah, there's Goose.
Hey, sweets.
Let me demonstrate. This is my favorite thing that Vincent does. Vincent teaches French for a living because, you know, he is French. And my favorite thing that he does when he like has new clients and he's like introducing, you know, everything, because everyone's always like, you know, wants to know about him too because he's just teaching from the van, and then, you know, the cats make noise and I make noise, he has to talk about it. My favorite thing that he does, this is the thing that he always does. He goes, this is
my cat."
Goose. He holds it like this, and he's just so big.
Look at this big boy.
And Gremlin. He's like, I want to go back to sleep.
Oh, no, stay here.
But it's very funny because he's just a giant baby. You're a good boy. You don't have to stay. It's okay.
But CC is just like, this
You
is
don't have to
nice.
stay.
This is nice.
He
He's purring.
is
He's
a little
alright.
bit of a glutton.
He's alright.
He'll come and like flop down in between us, and then he'll
Wait.
reach his little paw up and grab my hand to try to get.
Let's see if he does it right here.
He might. I wouldn't be surprised if he
Actually
did.
done. Alright, bye
He's
bye.
out of here. We woke him up, so now he's gonna go get a snack. That's what it's gonna be. He needs a little bite to eat and a little
hold on.
little drink.
Goose.
No,
Goose.
no, he's going to get a snack. I'm telling you.
Well, yeah, but like I'm about to. Well, no, actually, he's already getting the snacks. So we're good. I just wanted to see if he would want a TREAT.
Oh, I mean, when does he
Maybe.
not want one?
Well, oh, hold on. Well, Earl is up there, right?
yeah, he's up there.
Earl, do you want a treat? Do you want a treat? Earl, do you want a treat? Baby.
Earl. We do have a lot of
waking up.
fun.
He's waking up. Do you want a treat? He's looking. Earl.
Earl.
They won't believe me until I get up.
He also just isn't that food
Want a
motivated.
treat?
We
Come on,
we-
let's get a treat. He's getting up. He's getting up. Let's get a treat.
You're working really hard to convince him.
Yeah. Do you want a treat, baby? Come on. You're now sitting. He's just looking at me. Just stretch and just like.
I think you're gonna have to
Come
go. You're gonna have to go make a noise
go get
with
a
the treat
treat.
bag. He's not gonna believe you otherwise. Okay, you're getting the whole show tonight. He's gonna come barreling through. The good stuff.
Oh yeah.
There he is. We have these freeze-dried minnows. Let me show you. They're disgusting.
Yeah.
Earl, here, sit. Good boy. They're nasty.
Oh no! Don't drop it on the bed.
It's okay. He'll get it. It's just too big for him to eat in one bite. There you go, Bubba's. Gross. Disgusting. They're just literally freeze-dried fish.
Like fish.
Nasty. Is it too big? Here. Is it too big for you? Here, I'm gonna hold it. I know, I'm so brave because this is disgusting. There you go. He bit it in half. Nasty.
Is
I
the
don't know if
sound
you can hear
too
the
loud or
trumpet.
something? Like it's just like peaking really high.
No, I mean, I talk pretty soft,
Yeah,
generally.
I guess you're right.
We're just making more noise with you here. This is nasty. Gross. Yeah, Vince and we have fun now. We're good.
I hope so.
We've had plenty of hard years. We had our 7-year wedding anniversary in May. So we've been married for a long time. We dated for a year before that. There's the language barrier. We were both also raised Mormon, so there was like that whole thing where we had to figure that out. He's staring.
That's a lot
What?
already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we had a lot to figure out. So it's been a long journey to being like having fun and being happy.
Hey, it's 9:30 by the way.
Oh yeah, mealworms are disgusting. I had a bearded dragon growing up as a pet, and that was my least favorite part. The bearded or the mealworms and the crickets. I hate crickets. Our wedding anniversary is May 6th. May 6th, 2017. 5/6/17. I picked that date because I knew it would be easy to remember when we got married. But yeah, so I think if you go back in our to my older vlogs, I feel like you can see a huge difference in like how we communicate and like just how we feel about life in general. I do feel like it's like night and day. I'm proud of us, but it has been quite the journey. As it always is, I think just as you grow. I think that's one of the hard things about getting married really young. I was 22, so we was babies. Vince is French, so so his first language is French. You can hardly tell. He has like hardly any accent because that's just his gift is languages. But definitely, like, when we got married, he had only visited the US. Like, he had never spent any time in the US. He knew Americans from, like, his Mormon mission and some other things, but, like, I mean, French is definitely more of his first language than it is now. I think he communicates much better in English now. Like, I feel like your vocabulary's gotten a lot bigger.
Reading helps.
Yeah, he's done a lot of reading in English. But yeah, it was rough, I think. When we first got married, it just like it was such a whirlwind, and then like real life hit so fast, and we were so young and trying to figure it out, and then like we were living in France, so I was already very anxious all the time and stressed out, and I was trying to learn French, and you know, we're trying to communicate in English, so he's having a hard time expressing himself, and I'm having a hard time understanding, and it was rough. We got through it, and you know, we love each other, so that's just a choice that you make every day. Is like, is it worth it or not? And you just choose that it's worth it, and then you put in the work. But it was definitely, it's been a long journey to get to where I feel like we communicate really well. We dated for a year before we got married. We actually met on Tinder in 2016. Back when that was one of the only options. I was at BYU, in the illustration program in Utah in college, and he was visiting for a wedding, and we met on Tinder, and we dated for a year. Yeah, we were long distance for all of it. We spent the month of August together in 2016, and then in November I went to France for 2 weeks, which is when we got engaged. And then in January he came for the month of January to visit, and then he officially like moved for the wedding that April. So we had like August, January. We had about 3 months together, 3.5 months maybe in person together total before we got married. It's like, no wonder we struggled. We were really good at writing. Like, sometimes sometimes it's just easier to communicate with writing. So we'll just, like, text each other. If there's something hard that we're trying to figure out, we'll just text it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It helps. Because, like, we're just so much more comfortable with, like, that's what we did so much of when we first were dating was, like, it's a lot texting 24/7. Constantly. Just infatuation, like, texting each other. And then, lots of like Zoom dates. We'd like watch movies together and stuff over Zoom. But
I am so sorry for my choice of movies. Sometimes I feel like I got you to watch like some really weird stuff.
what was the first movie that we watched? Because I do remember it was really weird.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know which one it was. It was like a sci-fi movie. No, like a Russian fantasy movie. Like
Yes,
something like that.
it was in Russian, so I had to sit there and
No,
read
wait,
Russian
was it?
subtitles. It was in Russian. It was either dubbed or with subtitles.
It was dubbed.
But it was it was a Russian movie.
Great movie.
I can't remember what
Super
movie
weird.
it was. Was it fantasy?
I think it's called Baywatch or Baywatch or Night Watch or something.
Yes,
like that.
it definitely was, because then we watched the next one and it was like a series like that for sure.
Yeah, it was 2 movies. I should watch them again. Oh, wow.
I surfed for 2 hours today. My ribs are killing me. They're still not really adjusted. And I've been surfing long hours. So, if you see me grimacing, it's because I'm sitting too slouched. I really actually prefer subtitles to dubs. I almost always would rather hear it in the original language than like hear dubs. I just feel like I like to hear like I feel like the actors when they're in the movie in the moment like being filmed, like it's really hard to mimic that emotion when you're sitting in like a sound studio recording dubs. It's just not the same. I think a really good example of that is like I think the most recent like big movie that we saw that was subtitled was Godzilla Minus One, Japanese.
That was great.
And that one, like the whole time I was so grateful that it wasn't dubbed, because I just can't imagine that it would be nearly as good with a dub. Like I'd much rather just have subtitles on that and like get like the original, because like Japanese first of all is a beautiful language, but also it's so different than English that like there's no way that like it would work. So I just feel like that about a lot of movies. I feel the same way with French, because like I'd rather hear the French and like get practice reading. I think that that's helpful. There was a movie, oh, what was it? It was Spanish.
Oh, the zombie one.
Yeah. What was that?
Record.
No, it was the one on, I think it was on Netflix. It looks like they started to use AI to like try to match the dubbed like
No, that was the French one
faces.
about the shark.
Oh yeah, that was French. It was French. This is a movie. It's on Netflix. What's it called?
Shark Under Paris or something stupid like
Under
that.
Paris, I think it's called. Anyway, it's French. It's set in Paris, and it's basically like a shark has like evolved to like survive in fresh water. And so there's like a giant shark, like a very large shark swimming around the river. And it's like a race against time for like the biologists to like find the shark and stop it, and like it's already like reproduced and so there's lots of sharks. It's like a whole thing. And that movie, I was watching it dubbed because I was like working on other stuff at the same time, so I couldn't sit and read subtitles. But it was bothering me so much because literally I'm pretty sure Netflix has started using AI to like try to make like the people's mouths like match the dub. It is so uncanny valley. I was like, I couldn't stop getting distracted by how weird it looked. I hated it. Okay, we have 5 more minutes and then I gotta get off because we are hanging out in a public park. We're at Doheny State Beach right now, and the park closed at 10 and it is 9:40, so I have to go in 5 minutes so that we can drive to where we will sleep for the night. But I am doing this weekly on Thursdays, I think. I think Thursdays. Probably around the same time, just like in the evening. I might do it an hour earlier if Vincent's schedule allows. Kind of depends on when Vincent's teaching. His original lesson for today was scheduled 6:30, so the earliest I could do it was 7, but I'd rather do it at 6. Because I know that a lot of people on the East Coast are, like, it's already late for them. So, that's the scoop. I'm excited to be back doing it, though. It's so fun to chat with people. I love, 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 like, having a little online community, and I love people all crafting together. By the way, I do have a Discord. It hasn't been active because I haven't been streaming, but since I'm starting again, the Discord link is it should be in the description of this video. But feel free to join. It's a good place to like share project photos and talk to other people, get help on stuff. I'm gonna revamp it. We're gonna get it active again as I do this every week. I think it'll pop back up. I have so many people who have found my channel through Cross Stitch, so feel free to join if that is something that you want to do. And then otherwise, also, If you ever want to chat on Instagram, I'm always there. I'm on Instagram a lot. And obviously YouTube. I do vlogs every other week, and then whatever else I feel like. I haven't done enough crafty videos lately just because van logistics. It's tricky to like do like a polished looking video when you're in a tiny echoey space. But that's why I wanted to do crafting streams again, because they're a little bit more low key, but like I still get to spend time doing something I love with people that are like also like to do it. So super fun. Phone just buzzed. I'm gonna resist checking it. I've been too glued to my phone because of all the news happening this week. In US politics, mostly. I like to keep up because otherwise I just feel like I miss all the inside jokes. Things move too fast. And I got pretty far in my sock, even for talking for this whole time. I think I did pretty good. Got through the toe, and I'll be doing the body for a while. I have to knit to 6.5 inches from this so that I can do, that's when I start the heel. That's just my own personal measurements. I've been thinking about writing up this pattern so that I can maybe just sell it. It's like a universal sock pattern. It'd be easy to like do the math to figure out like for people's foot sizes. But I have not taken the time to do it yet because knitting up or like writing up a knitting pattern is a whole new can of worms that I have not figured out how to do. I just know how to do cross stitch patterns, which is what I do every week. I post them on Etsy. I do new patterns on Mondays if you're ever interested. I just feel like there's a lot of like old fashioned looking cross stitch pattern makers or patterns, and makers of patterns tend to stick with more like traditional styles. So I like to do ones that are like a little more snarky and fun. I have a lot of like Taylor Swift lyrics, and I have some Buffy quotes and some like Hocus Pocus from like Disney, like some fun stuff like that, and Harry Potter. I have Harry Potter too. So all kinds of fun pop culture stuff. If you ever have any ideas for things that you'd want me to make, I love ideas from people because otherwise I'm just coming up with it myself. Which is fine. I have a million ones that I want to make, but I love also doing things that I didn't think of on my own because it feels more exciting to make someone else's idea than make your own sometimes, I think. And I really enjoy doing it. Let's see. I also have these cute little stitch markers. I haven't sold any of them on Etsy. This one's from the Taylor Swift pack, and this one's from the Twilight pack. The heart, like what Edward gave Bella, if you know Twilight. I love Twilight. I love it and I hate it. I think they're the worst movies ever, but I also still watch them for comfort movies all the time. So I accidentally became the Twilight girl on Instagram. But I do have stitch marker packs on Etsy. No one buys them because my niche on Etsy is cross stitch. So I have a bunch of them still up there. This cat one I think is so incredibly cute. I use it every time I make socks because I love it so much. Alrighty, Vince.
Alrighty.
Any last words?
Change the world.
Wow.
My final message.
Incredible. So
Goodbye.
insightful. Incredible. Okay, love you guys so much. Thanks so much for hanging out. Like I said, I'll be doing this every week, so I'll schedule the next one, probably on Monday. And this is fun. I hope that we can keep doing this forever and ever. Let's see if I can remember how to turn this off now, because it's been a long time.
Go to Safari.
Okay, Discord's down below, also Instagram, or whatever. Any way you want to contact me, I love chatting with people. Okay, have a good night.
Well, actually, it's right here in Buckness. Right there.
Excellent. Okay, well, we're gonna do this instead.
The pause screen? Oh, we need an end screen.
We do need an end screen. All right, end screen. Thanks for hanging out.
I'll do this one. 1, 2, 3, bonk. And then, bonk.